Bad news, Harry. I've just been to see Professor McGonagall about the firebolt. She got a bit shirty with me. Told me I'd got my priorities wrong. Seemed to think I cared more about winning the cup than I do about you staying alive. Just because I told her I didn't care if it threw you off, as long as you caught the snitch first.
I love Oliver Wood.
I know.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I need to look up, like, greetings in other languages.
Oh, yeah.
We could do, like, a different language greeting.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. It's the only one I know. I was going to say danke, but that's thank you.
Correct. Well, you could say thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Danke for joining us. I don't know any other German. This is the We Read Books podcast, a show where we read books and then we talk about them, and that's it.
Yep.
And it's fun.
We enjoy it.
Everyone has fun.
Yep.
I guess.
I was going to say by everyone, we mean us.
Yeah. Well, we're everyone. Yeah. So.
I mean, we've gotten a couple 5-star reviews, so someone's enjoying it.
Someone's having fun when they listen to us. And that's Whit.
And that's Mad.
And we're your 2-man group.
Yep. Your hosts for this afternoon.
Yes, it's Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, this is part 2 of a 2-part thing. Mm-hmm. And we are doing part 2 on a different day.
Yeah, the intention was to do both parts at the same time, and then it
was 9:30 p.m. when we finished part 1, and we thought we do have to work tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And I just, I don't function very well on lack of sleep.
No, nor do I.
I gotta have my 8 hours.
I gotta at least have 6.
If I have 6, I'm just,
Can't do it.
I can't do it.
If you would like to contact us on our social channels, we've got Instagram and TikTok. We are at We Read Books Pod. And then our email is wereadbookspod23@gmail.com. Ooh. I always want to do the Yahoo like you did that one time, just because it's fun. Gmail doesn't have a cute, catchy little thing.
It doesn't. I was just trying to think of how you could do that, but no, you can't.
But as I just said, this is part 2 of our Prisoner of Azkaban episode.
Yes, it is.
Yippee!
Both of these will be out at the same time, so
yes.
You're not going to have any lag, but
correct.
We have lagged.
You know, life gets busy, and we were consistent for a good many episodes.
Yeah.
So
we didn't take any breaks.
Yeah.
So we took 1 break. Well, 2 breaks, technically. We didn't release anything last week either.
But we did 2 in 1 week.
We did 2 in 1
week. So
correctamundo.
We were trying, but you know, we didn't make false promises in the beginning. We did say that we would get to a point where we would maybe not be able to do every week.
That's true.
So life just gets busy, and reading books takes time. And,
it does.
You know.
It takes so much time.
We don't want to rush through something and then give you a half-hearted something, you know.
Yeah, that's right. And editing takes time.
Oh, boy.
Because, you know, we don't hire out for any of that. So.
And I can't edit and read, you know, at the same time. So if I'm doing one, then I'm not doing the other.
That's right.
So.
That's true. Yeah. I have built myself up to where I can edit at 1.75 speed.
I'm so impressed.
It's actually really entertaining.
I should try it, but I feel as if I'm going to miss, like, I'm either going to shorten gaps between things too much, or I don't know. I'm not sure what my fear is, but I'm just like, no, I got to do this at normal speed. I'm going to do something wrong.
Yeah, what I generally do is I'm listening to it at sped up, but the way that the audio looks on the wavelength on the screen is the same. Yeah. So that's how I
That's true.
Find it.
That's true.
And you can kind of see the tongue clicks make a very specific visual.
They do.
So
not that you guys have ever heard them.
hopefully.
No. I know one sneaks in there every once in a while because it'll be like buried in an audio that it is not distinguishable. You can't pull it out.
Yeah.
But we really do try to pull out weird mouth sounds and ums and long pauses and stuff just so it's a little bit more smooth. But of course, we still leave in some of our word mishaps. One, because they're funny, and two,
That's just how,
we're human beings.
Yeah.
So.
Really, the best part of editing at that speed is hearing our voices at that speed. It's just so funny because
the chipmunk effect.
Yeah. You can't distinguish who's who either. They sound exactly the same. So it's extra funny.
That is funny. You're editing, you're like, wow, I made a really good point. Then we listen to it and you're like, oh,
that wasn't me. Rats. Yeah.
That's too funny.
Do we have any news?
I don't think so.
Okay. I haven't bought any books recently, so I don't have like a book buys corner.
I did buy some books from a friend. Our buddy Emily was getting rid of some books and sent me a couple she thought I would enjoy. So I picked up the trilogy of The Discovery of Witches. So A Discovery of Witches, Shadow of Night, and The Book of Life. I do think there is a fourth book now, but I don't know if it's set in the same world or if it's separate. Okay. Don't know anything about it. I just know that there's like another that they consider part of the... What do they call those books? All Souls trilogy?
I think All Souls is right, actually.
So yeah, I got the trilogy of those, and then I got a book called Reign of the Fallen. It sounded very interesting. It had to do with, I guess, zombies and like the undead, but like in a very fantasy setting. So it sounded really cool. And then I got Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, which I actually know nothing about it other than I've been told it's very odd.
I think it's set at Yale.
But I like Leigh Bardugo, and it's just a duology right now. So I'm not committing to 10 more books. So I thought I'd give them a whirl. So I did pick those 5 books up this week.
Nice. It is the All Souls series. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, we're going to get right back into the plot of Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes.
So,
if you're listening to this first, you might be a little confused. So go back to part 1 of our discussion.
Yeah.
Because like we said, this is part 2. We're picking up after we just learned that Sirius Black is Harry's godfather. And also the betrayer of his parents who got them killed.
Yikes. Yep. Harry had just sneaked in to Hogsmeade and overheard this conversation. That's where we're picking up. So go back to part 1 if you have not listened to it already. Yeah. Or not. I mean, you know what? Do you?
Yeah.
If you've already read the book, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So, whatever. So, this is the point where Harry's like, he's pissed.
Yeah.
He's like, Sirius Black, gotta go.
Right. Now he's like, oh, I understand now why everyone has told me not to make any rash choices.
Why Malfoy was taunting him.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, because everyone knew if I knew that this dude got my parents killed, that I would go after him.
Right.
Got it. Because it's one thing, I mean, it's terrible either way, but it's one thing if it's just some random Voldemort follower.
Right.
Versus someone who was loved and trusted and betrayed them.
Yeah. And Harry's godfather, which I think we talked about this in the first part.
Yeah.
That being someone's godfather in this world has, like, it carries an actual meaning.
Yeah.
You know, now a lot of times it's in title only, really.
Right.
But in this, there's like an actual bond created.
Yeah, and there was the expectation, like, yeah, if something happens to we the Potters and our child is left behind, Sirius, you will raise him.
Yeah, exactly. So that's just another knife in the gut there.
Yes, absolutely.
And Ron and Hermione are like, oh, whoa. Cool it down.
Yep.
Just bring it down a notch. Don't freak out.
Yeah. And honestly, I feel like he does chill down because then he gets distracted by everything else.
Yeah. He does kind of like, he's like, all right, your guys are right.
But he backburners it.
He does.
You know, school gets busy, Quidditch picks up, you know.
Because, right. And I mean, what is he going to do? He's 13 years old.
Right.
Like, come on.
He's like, you guys are right. I won't go after this murderer who apparently is very skilled at killing people. I guess I better not do that.
Yeah. So at this point, they go to Hagrid's. Because when they go to Hagrid's, Harry's like, I'm asking him.
Yes.
What? How did he not tell me?
Yes. Oh, that's right. That's right. He comes
Yeah.
in pretty hot, but
He
then
does.
he cools down really quickly.
Yep. And Hagrid tells them that he just found out that Buckbeak is going to be put on trial for attacking Malfoy in the beginning. So the three of them, it really goes out of his mind because he's like, well, we got to help Hagrid.
Absolutely.
So,
And Hagrid's heartbroken. You can't yell at a heartbroken, crying,
I know.
sweet giant. Like, you can't do that.
And he's so like sweet and you can't. Good job, Harry. You can't just come in and be like, okay, you're sad. Your pet's about to be murdered, but why didn't you tell me?
Thank you for having emotional maturity in that moment, Harry. I am proud of you.
Yeah. Very nice.
Malfoy acting like a little piece of trash.
What a little bitch boy.
I don't understand the thought process behind all that.
I agree.
It's one thing, like, his prejudices and his certain behaviors are clearly inherited by his father and his raising of him, but just needlessly malicious choices like this, like, oh yeah, I didn't listen, I misbehaved, I got attacked.
Yeah.
I'm going to milk it, and also I'm going to raise it up the flagpole to where, yes, now this animal is being murdered.
Yeah.
For what purpose?
Right.
You devil child.
I know. And it just doesn't make any sense that people are taking it seriously either, because it was a cut, and Madame Pomfrey has clearly demonstrated that she's wildly skilled at medicinal healing.
Yep.
And, she's regrown bones and all kinds of shit.
Yep.
A simple cut? Come on.
It's just another example of Malfoy's sway and threat over the governors or just the bodies therein that he can manipulate, just like in the last book.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
I don't know why he has so much sway. It's not like he's got Voldemort in his back pocket like, hey, I'll sick him on you. He's got nothing, but
it's got to be money.
It's something.
Yeah.
Or he's got blackmail on people, or just people are afraid to, I don't know, but he's got people threatened and scared, and so they're just kind of like, oh, well, yep, we better believe what he says.
Yeah.
And they're probably choosing their battles, like,
is this really that big of a deal?
They're like, okay, if you want to kill a hippogriff, then whatever.
Right.
My daughter's life that you just threatened is not worth
this hippogriff that I don't know. Yeah.
Obviously, the book doesn't say that he did that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it has alluded, like in the second one, that he did threaten.
100%.
So we're not putting it past Lucius to have done something like this.
No.
Obviously, he would. So, yeah.
But, yeah. So, the anger cools. He doesn't ask Hagrid why he never told him.
Yeah, he just lets it go.
Yeah, and they just vow to help Hagrid and start researching lawful cases to help.
Yeah.
But you would have been a great help in this case.
Maybe. Yeah. But they're looking at case law.
Right. But after that, then we get to Christmas, which is always a wonderful time in the books.
It is.
Harry wakes up to presents, and one of them is from an unknown sender, and it is a firebolt broom.
Whoa.
Because, as we know, his other broom was destroyed.
Smashed.
Splinters. So now he's got not only a new broom, but the broom.
The Rolls Royce of brooms.
The broom he was salivating over and restraining himself from.
Yep.
In Diagon Alley. And it is here.
It's here, and he is just in shock and awe. Him and Ron are like they basically just pass out over this right now.
Oh, yeah. And he even like goes to get his birthday present from Hermione, like his broom servicing kit. And he like gets it out and he's like, there's nothing to service on this broom. It is absolute perfection.
Everything is just so.
Yes.
Yeah. And and they're just so jazzed to get outside and like fly it. Mm-hmm. And Hermione sees it and she's like, okay.
She's like, excuse me, that could be from Sirius Black, you know?
Yeah. And they're like, nah.
Why would he send me a broom? Don't be ridiculous.
And I do think that I think it's maybe Ron. Like, he can't just walk into a store and buy a broom. Like, he's the most wanted person in England right now.
Correct.
So, I mean, that is some sound logic.
It is. And I mean, and it's more likely that it's a teacher or someone, you know, that just doesn't want to seem like they're giving favoritism. Like, if Dumbledore had bought it for him,
Right.
he may not put it on. Because if other kids found out, they already think that Harry's, like, got favoritism anyway. Right. But then if they found out that, like, Dumbledore bought him a firebolt, they'd be like, what the ever-loving heck? That's not fair. Not fair. So there are other people that it could be.
Right.
But, you know, she thinks it's Sirius Black. Ron's like,
get out of here.
Stop it.
Yeah.
And Harry's just like, a firebolt.
Yeah. He's in oblivion right now. He just has no cares. He's like, I don't give a fuck who this is from. I have a firebolt.
It's my dream broom.
It's mine.
Yep.
So, you know, they're basking in the glow of all their presents. And they're going down to the Christmas feast, which is probably the shit.
It sounds really nice. And this one is like just a small little gathering. There's not a ton of students that stayed this year. So it seems even cooler because like you're hanging out with, in my mind, the cool professors, you know, except for Snape, whatever. But, you know, you got Dumbledore there. You got Christmas crackers and hilariously...
Cool.
One of them pops and it's like a hat
with a vulture.
Yes. So good.
So funny.
But yeah, this little Christmas dinner party just sounds like a complete wonderful time.
Yeah.
I love it.
I have to say, we don't do Christmas crackers here. Is that something they actually do in England?
I believe so. Like, so for you Americans out there, we're not talking about crackers like crackers and cheese, an edible thing. A Christmas cracker is like, I think they're mostly tube shaped and they're wrapped in like tissue paper and you pop it open and sometimes it's like a tissue paper hat or confetti or like a little trinket or gift or I think I've seen ones that had little notes in them. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's just like a fun holiday little like surprise thing.
Right.
But you crack it open. So I think that's why they call them crackers.
Yeah.
But I mean, in like other BBC shows and things like that I've seen, like they also do like Christmas crackers. So that must be like a real English tradition.
Any of our listeners from the UK, please weigh in on Christmas crackers.
Yeah.
Now, I want some. This feels really fun.
It does.
I'm sure that none that we could get would be as cool as these ones because they are awesome.
Right.
There's a ton of shit in them.
These are magical Christmas crackers.
Yeah. So I understand that the idea in my brain is probably outlandish, but
yeah,
I want to try some real ones.
100%.
So if I had a P.O. box, I would now say it so you could send me some.
Right.
But I don't. So.
If you could just recommend the best place that we could buy a reasonable one online.
Yeah.
Let us know.
Please let us know. 'Cause I'm sure Google would help us out immensely here, but
you know, there's nothing like I was gonna say there's nothing like getting a real person
recommendation.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So they have their Christmas dinner. They do their Christmas crackers.
We have some little oddness from
Trelawney.
Yeah.
She's
per
usual, which is we'll talk about the weirdness of this scenario at the end.
Okay. Yeah.
Just don't let me forget.
Okay.
So this is the first time that Trelawney is actually like eating in the Great Hall with everybody else. She usually doesn't. So
yeah,
that's interesting.
She had a vision of herself going to the dinner, so she thought, "Why fight fate?
You can't.
You can't."
Oh, Trelawney. Yeah. I feel very bad for her, but I also am like. It's a conflict because I think it sucks that she constantly targets Harry and is like predicting his death. You have the shortest lifeline I've ever seen.
Right. Well, according to McGonagall, though, she's done this to other students. Maybe not to this degree, but she's predicted other students' deaths at least once a year. So, woman, find a new hobby.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got Neville out here thinking someone's going to or no, it wasn't Neville. It was
Lavender.
Yeah, like the thing that she feared would happen, and it just so happened like her bunny died, or I don't know.
Yeah.
You've got people out here scrambling, fearing for their lives, other people's lives. You just need to calm down.
Yeah, just chill.
Take it back a notch.
Stop predicting people's deaths.
Right. Maybe keep the negative predictions to yourself when it comes to children. If it's an adult and you feel very strongly about it, please pull them aside privately. But this in front of class to children, it's got to stop.
Gotta stop. And honestly, I'm not going to say no one, but very few people actually want to know that the day of their death.
No.
I feel like that would ruin literally everything. Mm-hmm. You're just be living, and you're like, damn, I only have 3 weeks until my death.
Right.
Like, what?
You're gonna react in an extreme way. You're either gonna hold yourself up and hope it doesn't happen, or you're gonna go live your life wild and reckless.
Yeah.
Possibly ruining it beforehand. So you just...
I feel like the latter would be me. I would be like, fuck it. I'm about to act so wild. Or do some wild shit.
Right. And then the day comes and goes, and you're like... I'm still here.
Didn't die. This sucks.
I have some things to atone for.
Many apologies.
Oh, goodness. But yeah, so we have a lovely Christmas dinner. And I think, do Harry and Ron leave the party first?
I think so. I think they stand up from the table first. Yeah. Hermione hangs back after the feast and tells McGonagall about the broom. And her suspicions that it could be from Sirius Black. And obviously, McGonagall thinks, yes, this is sound logic.
Yeah.
And she goes to the common room and confiscates the broom. Ooh.
This is the final broom straw here.
This is not good.
We've already been kind of fighting and like snippy with each other. This is all out fallout. They are not talking to her after this. They are very furious.
They are furious. Because up to this point, Harry's been kind of neutral. He doesn't have a dog in the race between the Scabbers and the Crookshanks of it all.
Right.
He's just kind of like, you guys figure it out.
Yeah, handle it.
But now, the fireball, and he's like, oh, yeah. This isn't cool anymore.
Right.
So.
I understand why they're upset, but I also...
Yeah. Her heart's in the right place.
100%. And if it's just, a few tests, I know that you don't get to hang on to it, but wouldn't you rather be sure?
Yeah.
And remember year one when you almost got bucked off your broom?
Right.
Let's just be sure.
Yeah. Because McGonagall does tell him, like, you'll get it back. When and if we find that it's safe.
Right.
So.
But we're children and we're impatient and.
Yeah.
You've snitched on us and I'm angry.
No snitches up in here.
Right.
And yeah, they're 13-year-old boys. I mean, come on. The drama.
Right.
So it's not a good time. Hermione is like depressed right now.
Yeah.
Fully depressed.
Which
is sad. I feel really bad for her.
I really do too. I do too. But, classes are just ramping up, getting busier and busier. Mm-hmm. We're, heading into the last half of the school year.
Yeah. And that's always way more stressful.
Right. And then, Quidditch, there's all this pressure from the team for Harry to get a good broom. Mm-hmm. He's like, well, I have a good broom, but...
Yikes.
Yeah, so they're just busy with school and ignoring their friend.
Yes, they are. And, once Oliver Wood finds out that Harry got a fireball for Christmas, he's like, this will not stand.
Right.
I'm going to make McGonagall see reason.
Right.
And he fails.
Miserably.
I do love his gusto, though. Just the way Wood, talks, it's just so funny.
I know.
And that opening quote that we put is Wood.
He's so sweetly ignorant.
Yeah.
He's like, it's not like I want you to die, but, obviously...
Listen, Quidditch,
yeah. I want to win.
Yeah. This is my last chance.
Right.
So funny.
But
I just like when he says she got a bit shirty with me.
I know.
It's so funny.
I know. I love it.
It's like at the beginning with Fred and George, whenever they like get together at Diagon Alley, and he's like simply gawking to see you.
Yes. Yes.
So funny.
And I feel like Wood almost sees himself like on the same level as the teachers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is so funny to me. He's just like, I'm a Quidditch captain. Like, I'll sit her down and she'll understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
This'll work. No.
Yeah. It simply didn't.
No.
Sorry, Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Harry also starts his Dementor lessons with Lupin.
Yes.
He's starting to do the Patronus charm. Mm-hmm. Or trying, at least.
Yes. Yeah. It takes him a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Which makes sense.
He has some natural capabilities, but this is a very advanced spell, so he struggles with it a little bit.
Yeah, and I think also, aside from it being really advanced, Harry has not lived a very happy life.
No.
So the whole, like, way to, like, muster that power is through, like, a happy memory. And his happy memories are just not very happy.
Right. It's like, oh, the time I first rode a broom. Oh, the day I found out I was a wizard. Oh,
Yeah.
Times with friends would probably be the best, but half the time he's with his friends, he's in peril. So
Right. So thinking about that is just very sad.
Yeah.
Like, when you try to think back in your life and your happiest memories are only two of them.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And he doesn't really, I feel like this is more of a movie thing, but like it's like the stronger the happy memory, the stronger your Patronus will be. I don't think he says that in the books though.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, it would be hard to produce the happy magic if you don't have a deep well of happy to pull from.
That's right. I think his, the one that, like, seems to work the best is when he found out he was a wizard, which makes sense because he's getting out of his life of turmoil.
Right.
So, but yeah, that just made me think about how depressing it is.
Yeah.
Like, his poor little life is just not very
well,
happy.
and that's why they affect him so much, and and then I don't know how much we'll touch on it, but yeah, it's just like the more that he experiences the Dementors, like the more vivid the memory becomes of like the last night with his parents. Like all of it is like, ugh.
It's heart-wrenching. And then there's like his own self-reflection of like, do I really want to stop this from happening? Because this is literally the first time in my life I've ever heard their voices.
I know. That I thought that was such a cool dilemma to have him have. Like it's sweet and heart-wrenching and sad and but understandable at the same time,
right. Yeah.
And he never dives into that, I'm gonna let it affect me so I can hear them, but it is a internal thought he has.
It is.
So I like that he has the thought but doesn't give in to that thought,
right? He acknowledges it and then is like, no, this isn't real,
right? I
have to like get past this.
I gotta learn to do this,
so I always appreciate a moment of self-reflection from a character, and I think we get that a lot from Harry. He does a lot of reflecting generally throughout the series, which I appreciate, and I think in some books we don't get that a lot.
Yeah, I like his self-awareness and his like admission to himself about things that he's feeling.
Yeah. He's not under any false pretensions about himself, which is positive.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's also, like, weirdly oblivious of other things, which is funny. But it makes sense, right? We're all really aware in some situations and completely unaware in others.
Yes.
Sounds very human.
100%.
But, yeah. So, at this point, we're seeing, like, their schoolwork ramp up. And Hermione is stressed.
Yeah, because, she's taking all of the classes.
She's doing the most.
Every class. And her friends aren't talking to her.
Yeah. And she's helping Hagrid.
Right. Which the boys are completely forgetting about. Shame on them.
Right.
They realize it later, but not yet. But yeah, she's helping Hagrid, doing all of these classes, completely shut out by her two best friends.
Yeah.
She's having a rough time.
She is. She really is. And it's unfortunate.
It is.
Really
I sympathize with her, but I can also see from their 13-year-old boy brains why they're mad.
Yeah.
So it sucks.
It sucks all around.
It does.
So poor little Hermione.
I know.
Harry does find out what's under a Dementor's hood in one of his lessons. Which is basically the only people that know is people who no longer have their soul.
Correct.
But there has to be some sort of a mouth because of the Dementor's kiss.
Yeah, it's just like a big gaping hole. Just
and it just sucks out your soul.
Yep.
That's it.
Fun times. Ooh. Scabby, slimy.
Yeah.
Endless hole. Like, it just...
I don't
the
like
things that nightmares are made of.
Yeah. The scabby and slimy at the same time, I hate it.
I know. I hated it too.
It's the worst. I hate it.
But you did note here, like, a revelation that Harry sort of has during one of these lessons. He's like, hey, so, like, you were in school when my parents were in school, right? Like, you knew them? Mm-hmm. Lupin's very vague about it. He's like, yeah, I knew them.
I just wonder why he's so vague about it. I mean, because I understand that he doesn't really want to admit or acknowledge his friendship with Sirius. Mm-hmm. But I feel like even if acknowledging his friendship with James would reveal his friendship with Sirius, everybody already knows.
Right.
Like Dumbledore, McGonagall, Flitwick, Snape, all of these people knew him all through school. They knew exactly who his friends were.
Yeah.
So why is he hiding it?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just because it's hard for him to think about. It's less of a good memory and just a reminder of what he lost, I think.
That's probably, that's true.
In my mind. And then him and Harry kind of have a conversation too about like the Dementor's kiss. And I think Harry kind of has he deserves it.
Yeah.
And then we sort of have a Gandalf Frodo moment where it's like,
But does he?
Who are you to decide what someone deserves kind of conversation. And I instantly was like,
yeah,
it made me think of that other conversation. So it was a good moment.
I agree. Yeah. Cause Lupin says, does anyone deserve that?
Right. Yeah.
And Harry says for some things, but I feel like when Harry gets older, that sentiment is probably less black and white.
Agreed. But I think it's an important little seed that is placed in and question that's placed in Harry's mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Does anyone really deserve I don't know what the modern real world equivalent of getting your soul sucked out would be. Maybe lobotomy. I don't know.
Yeah. That's the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Which I don't know that they really do those anymore because they deemed them pretty horrific. But
I don't really know anything about lobotomies generally, but
only what I've seen in movies, and I'm not willing to completely trust that.
Yeah. I don't know if I feel like in some cases it doesn't fully like affect the person's brain or whatever. I don't know enough about it to speak to it.
Right. From what I can tell, it's like a successful lobotomy done 100% perfectly. And again, this is just from what I've seen in movies or referred to in things. A successful lobotomy, sort of takes care of the abnormalities, the irrational behaviors, but the person is able to like still live a normal life. Mm-hmm. And then like obviously worst case scenario, they lose all personality and or even worst case scenario, they're just a vegetable. So,
okay.
I mean, you're playing around with people's brains here.
That's right.
Back in the day, it seemed as if they would just like, it seemed like they would take like a rod and like, something spiky and like something in the brain. I don't know. It seemed very imprecise and dodgy, to say the least.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Every time I think of, like, the Dementor's kiss, I do think of lobotomies.
Yeah.
Because that's, like, the general gist that most people know. I just don't know if that, like, what the actual procedure is supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's just, I think it's meant to alter how the brain works.
Yeah, the two sides of the brain, how they, like, come together or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Any brain surgeons out there, let us know.
Hit us up.
But yeah, I do kind of wish Lupin would have just, like, been honest with Harry.
I do too. I
feel like it could have, I don't know.
I also think that maybe Lupin was trying to still keep some distance, you know, between, again, unlike the movies, like they make Sirius and Lupin a little bit warmer especially in this particular movie. They not that they're not warm towards Harry, but I feel like they amp that up in the movies. Where in the books, they don't get that opportunity really. But I feel like Lupin is kind of keeping a barrier. Like, one, I think the memories are sad for him. And then two, I just think that he probably doesn't want to get close to Harry like that. Not only because it makes him sad, but also it's like he's a werewolf. Werewolves, for some reason, are very blacklisted in this society. You know, there's a lot of prejudice against them. Which seems wild to me and doesn't totally make 100% sense.
I agree.
Especially if they didn't choose that they were bitten and become a werewolf. They're just automatically like, oh, no, they're trash.
Yeah.
They could be a good, functioning human being, but, like, because they're a werewolf, they're... No.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange to me.
It's the kind of, like, ostracism that I think probably people with leprosy struggled with in the past. And then people probably, like, in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s... struggle with HIV.
I was gonna say I think it's less of a race prejudice and more of a disease comparison. I do believe that that's what that's meant to represent.
Yeah,
very sad.
That's what I get from it for sure. It does like hold true for sure.
Yeah, it
is very sad, but so many things.
I know.
It makes me now I'm stressed about it. So after the Dementor lesson, where Harry asked about what's under the Dementor's hood, he's on his way back to the common room. I think that's the one where he's at least getting some vapor coming out. Something is happening when he's doing the Patronus.
Yes.
It might not be what like the full shit is supposed to be.
Right.
But it's something.
Yeah. He's getting some smoke, some vapors.
Yeah. So. And Lupin's like, listen, it's enough to where if it happens at Quidditch again, you can at least get to the ground.
Yep.
And that's the whole point.
Exactly. Because as we said, this is a very advanced spell. Like normally a third year would not be learning this. And even advanced students, this is not a spell that just anyone can seemingly learn. It's difficult.
This is real shit. It's like 6th and 7th year shit.
Yeah.
And he's a third year, so.
And I think he even says like even the most skilled wizards can't always.
Yeah. So.
I feel like it takes a lot of emotional awareness.
Yeah. It's like, I think it's a spell based on emotional intelligence.
Yeah. So.
Makes sense. So Harry's on his way back to the common room, and he runs into McGonagall, and she gives him the firebolt back.
Just in time, because I think we got a match Tamari.
Yeah, he really been cutting it close.
Yeah. She couldn't have even said, yes, we'll try and have it to deadline, before the big match.
Yeah.
She didn't do that to ease his concerns.
No, she didn't.
She probably thought, I'm not going to promise anything I can't deliver on. But
that's right. I mean, McGonagall's a straight shooter.
She is. But yeah, so yay, he gets the broom back.
He's pumped about it. And, Ron's pumped. And he's like, yeah, let me have a ride on it. And they kind of resolve at this point. They're like, let's make up with Hermione. Because we got the broom back. No harm done.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
And then... he goes upstairs, finds some blood on his sheets. Scabbers nowhere to be seen. But what is there to be seen is some ginger cat hairs.
We just buried the hatchet. Even Hermione, it's like, they're lucky that she was so willing to be, move with the fast sway of their emotions. Like, oh, you forgive me now? Like, she even said, she was like, well, I'm glad that it's safe, but it could have been dangerous. Like, I hope you understand that.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of like, yeah, okay, but yeah, let's just be friends. Let's just
be cool.
Yeah. And then he sees this, which I don't know how else you could really interpret what he found.
Right.
And yeah, livid is.
He is pissed. Because it appears like, Crookshanks, it appears like he ate him.
Right.
He just ate Scabbers. Bing, bang, boom. Dead.
And this isn't the first. This has been an ongoing problem.
This has been a problem for the entire book. And he's just like, I've been telling you.
Yeah.
And Hermione and him are basically, their friendship basically over at this point.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So...
Is Harry kind of in the middle, or does he kind of take Ron's side, I feel like?
I think in his head, he's kind of like, well, I bet Crookshanks did eat Scabbers, but I also think he kind of doesn't care that much.
Yeah, he's like, well,
whatever. Cats eat rats, I don't know.
I think he even said, he's like, you said that he was sickly and boring and,
Yeah.
can't you just sort of move on from this?
Right. But I do think that him and Ron, I think Hermione in that moment is just so fed up with the way that they've been treating her.
Yes.
And she's just like, I knew you're going to, she's just like, take Ron's side. I don't care, basically.
Right.
And runs away.
Right.
And so I don't think he necessarily has beef with Hermione at this point, but he's kind of like...
I mean, he sleeps in the same room as Ron.
Yes, exactly.
They have more similar interests, so it's just sort of...
So it's almost by default.
Yes.
He's on Ron's side. So it sucks.
It does.
And, I guess it does suck that Crookshanks ate Scabbers, but it's kind of also like animals will be animals at the end of the day.
Right.
I don't know, but in order to try and cheer Ron up, Harry does let him fly the firebolt after the next Quidditch practice.
Yeah, which he would have done anyway, but he's kind of hoping like this will be a good distraction from his anger and grief.
Yeah. Oh, man. And it does kind of work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hermione's too busy with all her classes anyway. It's just
That's
I
true.
can't even handle this nonsense.
This drama is just too much for me right now, is basically her view.
I'm sure she's like, I've controlled my cat as much as I can. I'm sorry that he hates your rat.
Yeah.
You don't have any proof that my cat ate your rat, but...
Yeah. That's essentially... She's like, those hairs could have been there from Christmas.
Right. Now, if I were Ron... I would understandably be angry too. I'd be like, your cat's had it out for my rat. I don't know what the deal is, but...
Yeah. I do
Now it seems murder has occurred.
Yeah.
And you don't care and you're not sorry and I'm mad.
Yeah.
So I see both sides.
I agree.
But it's a tough one.
Yep.
So that's constantly going on in the background in this entire...
It is.
But now we're focused on the second Quidditch match, and this one is against Ravenclaw.
Woo-woo.
The whole crowd is watching this firebolt zoom around the field.
It's like the highlight of the game.
Lee Jordan can't even keep it together. Normally he can't keep it together. He's always making side comments and, McGonagall's getting on him. But this time all he can talk about is this firebolt. Yeah. So it's even worse than usual.
And he knows all the stats too.
Yeah.
He's fully informed. And McGonagall's like, is this an ad for firebolts? What's going on?
Right. Here? Don't make me scoot you out of the way and make me do your job for you.
Exactly. I do really love the through line of Lee Jordan always being the Quidditch commentator, at least for the first 5 books.
Yeah.
It's just
I love when Luna Lovegood.
Oh yeah. She does. She is really funny.
Yes.
Loser slurgy.
Yeah. But yeah, Lee Jordan is fantastic at his job no matter what McGonagall says.
In my own headcanon, I feel like he is a professional Quidditch commentator.
Yeah.
That's his profession out once he's graduated from Hogwarts, that's what he does.
Even if the books or something else says his profession was something else, then he's doing commentating on the side. I don't care what you say.
He was born to do it, and I refuse to believe he's doing anything else.
It'd be really funny if he had a kid that went to Hogwarts and he's like, can I commentate on the games? I'll be a volunteer parent. I'll do the announcements during the games. And then he's just focused on his kid.
Yeah. That would be really fun.
And it's just same. He's like biased again, for Gryffindor, and it would be great.
It would be so great.
But speaking of distractions, Lee Jordan's not the only one who's a bit, preoccupied during this game because we meet the Ravenclaw seeker, Miss Cho Chang.
Yeah.
And Harry's pretty smitten.
He is. He's like, huh.
It's like, hey, that girl's pretty cute.
She is pretty.
Until she starts bumping up against him and being a pretty tough opponent as far as seekers go. He's like, okay, I got to get my head in the game and stop focusing on how cute she is.
That's right.
I gotta do the thing.
Yeah. And she's like trailing him and basically just attempting to follow him.
Yeah.
He will lead her to the snitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, I mean,
she's got tactics.
It's a strategy. Mm-hmm. And Wood's like, hey, quit messing around here.
Yeah.
Just knock her off her broom if you have to.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. Get your head in the game.
Yeah,
Knock her off her broom.
stop being crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's basically what we get in the Quidditch match. Where
Yeah.
Cho and Harry doing their thing, and he's like trying to put the firebolt to use, and he does.
Yeah.
You know, her broom can't compete.
He's already an exceptional flyer anyway, and
Yeah.
now he has the best broom.
Now he's got the tools.
Please.
So he's on his way. He's seeing it.
Yep.
And then what appears to be 3 Dementors are on the field again. And he's like, damn it. So he gets his wand. Mm-hmm. He does his little Patronus. And then he still catches the snitch.
Like
Bing,
a boss.
Bang, boom. Yeah. Freaking nailed it.
Gryffindor wins.
Gryffindor wins. Woo! I'm a Ravenclaw, so I would cheer for Ravenclaw, but,
Right.
you know.
Wah, wah. Sorry, buddy.
You know, we never get a Ravenclaw or a Hufflepuff win.
No. We're really just focused on the 2 main rivaling.
We are.
Whatever, you know.
I think Ravenclaw does get a little bit more page time than our Hufflepuffs.
Yeah, because they act like Hufflepuffs are just the side duds.
Oh, yeah.
We are no duds. We get a little more time in the 4th book.
Yeah.
But everyone's acting
Cedric.
kind of like a jerk.
Yeah.
So how can you say the Hufflepuffs are like the nice little wimps, and then in an entire book because of,
Yeah.
because of circumstances, they're kind of buttholes.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if they're buttholes in the book or if that's just a movie thing.
I don't think they're like buttholes. I think they're just upset.
Yeah.
Indignant.
Yes.
Maybe would be a better term.
I think you're right. I think it's more a movie thing that shows them being actively jerky.
Yeah, I don't think they were actively
And I guess
jerky.
they were a little jerky in Chamber of Secrets as well.
Yeah.
Not the whole class, but a couple of them.
Yeah. Our, Harry's age group of Hufflepuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ernie, Justin,
Finch Fletchley.
Hannah. Mm-hmm. So we get quite a few Hufflepuffs. And,
Yeah.
And Ernie.
Maybe we do get more Hufflepuffs than we do Ravenclaws.
Actually, I think we
Or
do.
maybe it's 50-50.
It could be even. I don't know. I guess maybe because of Luna, I just feel like I get more Ravenclaw.
True.
But outside of Luna, I mean, Cho, obviously, for a smidgen of time. But
Yeah.
I just feel like maybe just because Luna is so prevalent.
Yes.
And all the other, of the gang is Gryffindor.
Yeah. Isn't one of the twins, the Patil twins, isn't one of them a Ravenclaw?
Yeah.
Cool.
In the movies, she is not.
Yeah, they're both Gryffindors.
Yeah.
I
But
guess that was easier for them.
I don't know how that could have been easier for them because, I mean, it's only the one movie that you get the Patil twins together.
Correct.
And it's the 4th. And then in the 5th, you have to have Lavender. So they had to bring in a new actress to play Lavender. Why not just have Lavender in
The classes?
I
know. I don't know.
understand.
And what's even funnier, I think in the movies, I don't think that the Patil twins, those girls aren't twins.
The
At
Patil
least in the
twins?
later ones.
Oh, yeah.
The actresses.
The actresses are
They're
not
not
twins.
sisters or twins.
Yeah, they don't look remotely similar.
It's not like you were like, oh, we've got the twin power. I mean, we've got both of these girls. They look exactly the same. How cute. In their little robes. Let's just put them together in the same class. Mm-mm. These girls that were cast were not even siblings.
No.
So I don't
they were
understand
not.
it either.
It didn't
but-
make any sense. Whatever, though.
Right. Sorry, side rant.
Side rant.
Over.
Yep. So, yeah, we win the Quidditch match. And turns out the Dementors were not Dementors. They were the Slytherins. Mm-hmm. It was Malfoy, Crabbe, Goyle, and the captain of the Slytherin Quidditch team, whose name I don't care about.
Marcus Flint, I think.
Marcus Flint. I can see his face in my brain.
100% you can.
So they had dressed up as Dementors to try and, sabotage Harry.
Right.
Without realizing that it's not the sight of Dementors that makes him pass out, it's their power.
Correct. But I think they were thinking that it would still unnerve him enough that they would lose.
Yeah.
It's so funny that Snape and Malfoy work so hard to make Gryffindor lose, because it's like, oh, so clearly you acknowledge that they're a superior team and you're just punks.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's a weird vendetta.
So dumb.
I guess it makes more sense for Malfoy because he's actively on the Quidditch team.
Right.
But Snape, you're an adult. why do you feel the need to, like, try and prevent Harry from playing Quidditch at every turn?
He's ridiculous in this book.
He's the most ridiculous, and I don't care what anyone says.
Because he's the first one to say, you know, he's hanging on to stuff from his childhood and calling certain people bullies and being mad about it. And then he is that much or worse to every child he encounters.
That's right.
When you were a kid, Snape, they were a kid bullying a kid. It wasn't right, but I guarantee you were also snotty, so you weren't perfect.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't right what happened to you. But you were an adult man bullying children.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to chill the hell out.
Right. And that's what I don't understand when people try and, like, defend Snape so hard. They're like, oh, James was such a bully and he was such a bully to everyone and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, he was a bully to Snape. It's not clear or stated in canon that he was a bully to everyone. He was a bully to Snape. And it's said explicitly that Snape did not ever miss an opportunity to hex James. Correct. If it presented itself.
So they
both bullied each other. And not that makes either action okay or absolves either one of them.
No.
But you can't say that Snape is so much better than James because it's explicitly stated that he did his fair share of attacking James when his cheek was turned.
Yep.
So to me, it's a wash.
Agreed.
For them. They were both shitty to each other. And James grew out of it. And Snape didn't.
Right. I feel that James would have been cordial.
Yeah. As adults, if James was still alive, I feel like he would have been like Remus to Snape.
Yeah.
Like the way that Lupin and Snape interact, I feel like Lupin treats Snape with respect, and I feel like James would. Sirius? No. Sirius is the hothead of the crew. He's not down. But I think also in this scenario of this world that we're in, Sirius still sees Snape as a Death Eater, and Sirius is never going to get over that.
Right.
So I think his grudge against Snape is less about their childhood and more about the fact of
who he is or who he perceives Snape to
be. Yeah. He's like, you were a supporter of Voldemort. You were the one, spoiler alert, who told Voldemort about the prophecy that then led him to kill Lily and James.
Yeah.
Never.
Right.
Never gonna get over that.
Yo fault.
I understand that logic.
Yeah.
So Snape is holding on to a childhood grudge.
Yeah.
Sirius's grudge is adults.
Right. And then Snape turns around and tortures children emotionally.
Yes.
So you can step off now.
The Snape sympathizers, I don't get.
It's the Alan Rickman of it all.
I love Alan Rickman.
Me too. And he does bring heart to the character.
He does.
But
we're talking about what's on the page.
Yeah. Book Snape.
Book Snape is he's the worst. He's the worst.
He's vindictive and
he's callous,
yes.
vindictive, cruel. You'll never convince me that he is better than James.
Right.
Never.
And then you have the argument too, like, well, if you can't excuse Snape's behavior, how can you excuse like Malfoy's? And again, Malfoy is a child, and he again makes changes in his adult life that he doesn't repeat the bad behaviors. So
right, exactly.
That's where I can excuse Malfoy a bit.
There's always going to be the caveat of Malfoy being a child.
Right. And also just, did the character change for the better?
Yeah. And
what were the motivations for the change? And was the change genuine? These are all really big factors.
They're all huge factors. Because at the end of the day, Snape didn't change because what he was doing was wrong. Snape changed because
someone he cared for was in danger.
Yeah. Because Lily, he was obsessed with Lily. I don't think he loved her. I'm nodding my head. You guys can't see that.
I
just don't think that that's love.
No.
And I think he was obsessed with her, and she was this idealized, he had her on this pedestal, and she was this idealized object that he wanted.
Right. And then when she didn't behave the way that he wanted,
he called her cruel names.
Yeah.
That is not how you treat someone you love.
No.
And I think that his obsession with her never lessened, and then when she was killed, it just intensified.
Right. And it was mingled with guilt and all kinds of other things. So
Yeah.
I understand that there is an emotional complexity, but
I agree.
it does not excuse
I think
anything.
I think he thought he loved her.
Yeah.
But I don't think he fully knew how to love someone.
Mm-mm.
And so his love was more of an obsession.
Right. And I'm sorry, if you loved her, like, don't you think that she would have wanted you to treat her child with
That's
a modicum of respect?
That's exactly what I think as well. If you loved this person and you knew that she died because she loved her son so much that she couldn't imagine not dying for him, and then you treat him with such cruelty, how is that loving her?
Right. 'Cause
it isn't.
And even if he blames Harry, it's like Harry couldn't control the prophecy. It just was.
It just was.
Whereas Snape made a choice that led to.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
still, it's like, you're just wrong, dude. You're just wrong.
You're just wrong. I feel like it's so clear.
Mm-hmm. And I don't see any of this changing further into the books. We may have a little bit more sympathy later, but from what I remember, this is how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. But there's always, I feel like sometimes it's like the Nesta lovers, it's the Snape. They're the same people.
Yeah.
The people who love Nesta and
I think that there are people that I maybe identify with them or like feel the injustice that these characters, you know, they feel like, well, they were wronged. And in some ways, yes, I guess. But they had their part to play and they were equally as terrible as the things that happened to them or worse.
Yeah.
You don't get a free pass to be a trash can on fire just because someone set you on fire. Like, you don't get to then burn the world and go, well,
this happened to me.
This happened to me first. No,
right.
Sorry.
Yeah. I just can't understand.
Right. Like I said, I have grace for a character that takes bad things that happen to them or is just bad because of how they were raised or whatever. It's like I have more grace for a character that is bad, sees the error of their ways and becomes better because of their own choices, their own emotional maturity.
Yeah.
But if you're just going to be a jerk and then go, well, that's why I'm just not on board with that.
I agree. And I feel like the concept of people who have trauma in their lives, even though you've been hurt, it's still not okay for you to hurt someone else.
Right.
I feel like that's a concept that everyone kind of agrees. Yeah. You can't, just because you were hurt, you were hurt, it's fine to be upset about this, acknowledge it, but it's not fine for you to use that as an excuse to hurt someone else. Right. I feel like that is a universally accepted thought process. Yes. Until it applies to a character in a book. Yeah. When we're trying to apply that generally accepted logic to a book character, then people get wild. Yeah. I see it so often in like comments specifically about Nesta. It's like a dumpster fire in there. People refuse to even entertain the idea that she's a terrible fucking person.
I don't get that. I'm sorry.
I'm like,
even if she becomes better later, you can't tell me that when you first meet her, you don't go, wow, you suck.
Like, there's literally no reason for you to be treating your sister this way.
None.
Literally.
Other than your own shortcomings, which then just be mad at yourself. Yeah. Sorry.
Your trauma at this point in the book, before the whole cauldronness of it all, at this point in the book, Feyre has gone through the exact same trauma that you have.
But then had a weight thrown on her shoulders, unlike you. So.
How are you being so mean to her? And why are we excusing it? I'm so confused.
Mind-boggling and baffling.
We'll get into that more later.
We will. Because,
I just get these people.
I know.
I don't get it.
I know.
Come for me if you want. I don't care.
Please.
You're never going to convince me it's okay to be cruel to others.
Correct.
I'm so sorry, but you can't.
We're not going to get off this soapbox. We're just going to continue to stand on it, but we will move on.
We will move on. But this is a hill we're both dying on.
100%. I think I've said 100% 20 billion times this episode, but
we're very passionate about this topic.
I'm feeling strong today.
That's right. I've had like a whole bunch of coffee at this point in the day. We're very passionate about this subject. So there you
Let's
go.
go.
We're ready to we'll fight. I mean, let's take this to the street. Oh, Jesus loves me.
So,
Anywho, now it's time for a big old party.
Whoop, whoop.
Is this like the first big Gryffindor house party that we get?
I think so, because the last time, like, I feel like this is just like, we're on the road to winning.
Yeah, because this is like, the next one is it.
Yeah, because the last times, like, they were kind of out of the race earlier on because Harry was injured or whatever. So
and the Chamber of Secrets kind of canceled everything.
Exactly.
Right.
So I think this is the first time they're like feeling like they're tasting the wind coming down the, you know.
It's their turn.
Yeah, yeah.
So we get a Gryffindor house party. It's bumping. Fred and George steal food from Honeydukes. Wink, wink. And it goes into the night, and McGonagall has to turn up and be like, listen, here.
Yeah.
Super pumped we won, but get your asses to bed. This is just crazy.
Right. Your children, we are at school. Get to bed.
I just made me think of being young and having like a sleepover with your friends.
Yes.
And you're staying, and it's like late, and you're like, I can't go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's what it made me think of.
That's a good comparison.
So cute.
It is so cute.
Just staying up to the wee hours of the night, talking about life.
Yep.
Making big revelations about the world at 13.
Right.
Doubtful.
Yeah. I'm sure all they were talking about was Quidditch
probably.
and the snacks, but they were pumped
Yeah.
beyond belief.
That's right.
But they do eventually fall asleep.
They do.
But not for super long, because then Harry's awoken by a scream in the night.
Oh, scream in the night.
It's Ronald Weasley.
Ronald Weasley.
I just love saying his name.
I know.
So Mr. Ron's screaming because his bed curtains are slashed, and he says he's just been attacked by none other than Sirius Black.
Yeah. In the dormitory.
In the dormitory, he says he saw Sirius Black, rip open his curtains with a knife. And there are slashes in his curtains. Because at first they're like, dude,
come on.
you're having a bad dream. It's okay. He's like, look at my curtains.
I didn't do this.
Right.
Yeah. And they're like, all right, well, fair point, bud.
Right. Fair. So, McGonagall is shocked, upset.
She has no idea what to think.
Because if you remember from the episode you just listened to, assuming, Sir Cadogan is the portrait guarding the Gryffindor Tower now because the fat lady was like, heck to the no.
Yeah, she's like, listen, that is above my pay grade.
Right. She's like, I'm not getting attacked out here again. Yeah. So she questions Sir Cadogan. She's like, how did he get in? How did he get in?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, he had the password. He had a whole list of them, actually.
The whole week's worth.
Oh, boy. You know that one kid that can't seem to remember the password when it stays the same? Well, Sir Cadogan's changing it every 5 minutes. Poor Neville, wrote them all down.
Yep.
And lost it. And who found it but Sirius Black. So, sure. I'm sorry, sir. Even though he had the password, aren't you smart enough to know that, you shouldn't let him in?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, yikes.
Poor old Neville.
Yep, so, Sir Cadogan no longer has that that responsibility anymore. And
fired.
Neville is in huge trouble. He's not allowed into the corridor. He can't have the passwords after this. He has to be let in by other students and all that jazz. Doesn't the fat lady come back? But she's guarded by trolls and it's a whole big thing.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah, Sir Cadogan, shame. Neville, also shame.
Poor guy.
He's just trying to... His mistakes are never malicious. It's always just... Poor Neville.
Poor guy.
Yeah. So, It's not great, but
It's not good.
Yeah, so, but everything, is kind of switched up, but, I mean,
Yeah.
the danger is real.
Danger's real. And Ron gets quite a bit of attention retelling his Sirius Black story.
Right.
Which is a change because it's usually Harry that gets the attention. So
Right.
Ron's kind of like,
Right.
yes, I have a story to tell.
Right, he's one of several children, doesn't ever get, like, special attention, and his best friend is, like, super popular, so this is his little 15 minutes of fame.
It is.
He's enjoying it a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And he wasn't hurt, so, I mean,
Right.
nothing lost.
Yeah.
He just has a cool story.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. But, so after all this, and I still feel like, even after this, like, Harry and Ron aren't, like, on alert or scared like they should be.
They're just kind of like, meh.
They're focused on Quidditch and
are.
life and in general. And
They're boys.
yeah.
That's pretty much all you need to know.
100%. But so Harry and Ron are summoned by Hagrid to his hut because enough's enough.
Enough's enough.
Hagrid's like, you need to stop being mean to Hermione. Mm-hmm. She is a good friend. She had the best of intentions. Mm-hmm. And she's been helping me with this trial and everything. She's busy with school. She's overwhelmed. She's emotional, understandably so. Like, you guys need to get over this. And he's like, hey, guess what? Cats eat rats. That's just
That's the name of the game.
Yeah, that's just nature. That's how it works. Like, you need to quit.
Yeah.
And I mean, when someone's sweet and wonderful like Hagrid, like, is serious and lays down the law with you.
You gotta take them serious.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but they kind of, I mean, it seems like Harry is a little bit like, yeah, you're right. This is, yeah.
Yeah.
But Ron is kind of just like, well, she won't apologize, so I don't care.
Right.
I'm like, this is not the time to dig your heels in.
No, it is not.
Get over
No,
it.
it is not.
I mean, you can still be upset about Scabbers while forgiving Hermione.
Right. Just don't be so mean to her.
Yeah, these are not mutually exclusive.
Right.
So, yeah, he's being a little too stubborn at this point, I
Yep.
think. But he is also 13 years old, and that's, 13-year-old boys.
But that's when they realize, oops, they haven't been helping Hagrid like they promised
is.
they would. Thankfully, Hermione has. Which,
Right.
let's be honest, she probably would have been the one finding the most stuff anyway.
Yeah.
But still.
Still, it's the idea of helping.
Right. And he's not even mad at them for that.
No,
he's like,
he's not.
I understand that he's so sweet and understanding and wonderful, but also, like, calling it like it is.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot for Hagrid to, like, get stern with these boys. So
I
it's
agree.
like, he's right. He's right.
And he clearly, like, feels very strongly about it.
Yeah.
Because in Hermione, he does say at this point that she's been spending a lot of time with him at his hut because, I mean, she doesn't really have other friends aside from Harry and Ron.
Right.
I mean, in the later books, gets really close with Ginny and stuff, but she doesn't have other friends really. So Hagrid, she's been, trying to keep using Hagrid as, like, her company.
Yeah. A rock to lean on.
A rock to lean on, yeah.
A rock cake, if you will.
A rock cake. Oh.
He's so good at making those. Eek.
Just the term rock cake, just probably, I don't want to eat that.
No.
So.
It sounds like what it is, a cake that's hard as a rock.
I know. Eesh. But after this, so Harry and Ron, they're kind of like,
We'll take what you say under advisement.
Yeah, we'll think about this and get back to you. So another Hogsmeade trip comes up, and obviously Harry's like, I got the invisibility cloak, I'm gonna sneak in again.
Again, because they don't care that
they
a
don't
murderer
care.
almost tried to murder them. It's like, yeah, let's keep breaking the rules and get outside these walls.
That's right. And so they go to Hogsmeade, Harry's in the invisibility cloak, and he meets Ron, and then, they're doing their thing, and then they are up at the Shrieking Shack, and they run into Malfoy, obviously, who thinks that it's just Ron by himself.
Right. And he's like, ooh, easy target.
Easy target. So he starts, like, talking his shit, and Harry's like, I'm gonna get you. So he, like, under the invisibility cloak, like, gathers up some mud and, like, smacks Malfoy right in the back of the head with some mud.
Yes.
Which is very 13-year-old boy, by the way.
Yeah. But someone like Malfoy, you know that's just, like, probably the epitome of disgusting. Like, oh, I'm dirty.
Because he probably is wearing, like, very expensive robes and...
Probably spent 30 minutes gelling his hair.
Yeah, he's got to get that slick back just right. So, so Harry's, like, throwing mud everywhere, and he tries to trip, I don't know if it's Crabbe or Goyle, but one of the two. Mm-hmm. They're basically the same. Crabbe and Goyle, they're interchangeable. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Shakespeare does that in a lot of his plays. In Hamlet, it's Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And it's just, they're basically one character in two different people.
Gotcha.
They're never on page without the other, and they're just there to, like, support the character. Like,
gotcha.
Crabbe and Goyle exist as a unit to support Malfoy. That's it. Right. So he trips one of them, and their foot gets caught on the invisibility cloak and pulls it, and his head is showing. And Malfoy's like, I see you.
Yeah.
And he, like, hightails it back to school. He's like, yeah, I'm telling.
Right.
He's probably, like, really pumped about it, too.
I'm sure. I think he, like, is scared at first, and then it's like, oh, wait.
Yeah, then he realizes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Harry's like, shit. Mm-hmm. And he also books it back to school.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what's so weird to me is, so he's running back to school. He hides the invisibility cloak, like, in the tunnel. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he gets out of the entrance, the hidden entrance, Snape is, like, there.
Yeah.
But his hands are still muddy. Like, the whole time you're running through that tunnel, wipe your hands, bud. Like, clean, wipe them off on the invisibility cloak or something.
Right. But I don't think Snape sees him. Does he see him come out of the witch's hump? Or Snape is in the hall and he catches Harry, like, right after he gets out of the secret passage.
Yeah.
So it's like Harry's just in the hallway as far as Snape knows, but Snape's like...
I think he's kind of suspicious of that specific spot, though, because earlier in the book, he saw Harry in that same location.
Him and Neville.
Yeah. And he was then, like, looking at the witch's hump, like, trying to find something.
Right.
So I think he maybe suspects.
Right. And he was 100% in the vicinity and was like, Potter.
Yeah. Okay. But, yeah, I don't know why Harry, while he's on his way back, why he's not like, I gotta get this mud off me.
Right.
Because the mud on your hands is literally the calling card.
100%.
Like,
I didn't remember that the mud was still on his hands.
There's a line after, like, I think when him and Snape are on their way to Snape's office right after he catches him, he realizes his hands are dirty, so his hands are in his pockets and he's trying to, like, wipe them off.
What a ding dong.
Yeah, you should have thought about that.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
So he catches Harry and then making him empty his pockets and, you know, what paraphernalia do you have, you know, to prove that he was in Hogsmeade. So it's like, oh, where'd you get that? Oh, where'd you get that?
Yeah.
So he's got all this stuff and he has this piece of parchment, which we know is the Marauder's map, but thankfully he mischief managed it or whatever. Yeah. So
it's blank.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, then it's like, then it starts insulting him because, you know, he tells it to reveal its secrets and it's starting to insult him and he's getting real mad, which that's exactly what you want, to piss off the guy whose his main goal in life is to ruin yours. Yeah. So he calls on Lupin to look at this thing because it's full of dark magic, you know? Yeah. And... luckily, Lupin's just like, oh, it's a Zonko's product. It's meant to...
insult whoever reads it.
Right. Yeah. And then, of course, Ron comes, like, huffing down the hallway. I gave Harry that stuff last time.
Without thinking that it begs the question, how did you know so quickly that Harry's in Snape's office?
Right. We aren't worried about that. We're just worried about the current trouble that we are obviously in.
Right.
So.
Exactly. And so Lupin kind of, like, mollifies Snape a little. Snape's probably not convinced, but what else is he going to say? He doesn't have, like, he can't prove. He's, like, suspecting that this piece of parchment is a map that shows how to get into Hogsmeade, but he can't prove it.
Nope.
So Lupin's like, all right, well, this is sorted. Harry, Ron, you come with me because we got some shit. Mm-hmm. And so Lupin takes him back to his own office and basically lectures Harry about being careless.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I know this is a map. I know the people who created it, and it's really careless of you with Black out here on the loose.
Right.
After what just happened to Ron. Mm-hmm. And you're just out here willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, shit,
it's right. Like, you guys were more worried about the snake in the walls last year.
Yeah.
When the danger was to everyone else. The danger is literally to you, and you couldn't give two craps.
Yeah.
Boy.
Exactly.
How to repay your parents' sacrifice.
Ooh, that was a knife in the gut right there.
That was.
Ugh.
How many times do you boys have to be scolded for your ridiculous behavior this year?
Exactly. They are acting so out of pocket all year.
Oh, my goodness.
Get it together.
Yes.
Being 13 does suck, though.
Yeah.
Damn, being 13 sucks. Mm-hmm. I think being 12 and 13 are probably the worst ages to be. It sucks.
And everyone expects you to suck, so they're going to treat you like you suck, even if you do or don't.
I know. God. Obviously, I've never been a 13-year-old boy.
No.
So I don't know how that is, but being
a 13-year-old girl was no walk in the park either.
Oof, I feel like it's worse. Has to be worse. Think about what is you're like, your whole body is fully changing, and it's not like everybody's like, oh, a boy's body's changed too. A girl's body changes, and it's obvious to everyone. Mm-hmm. And then everyone's staring at you, especially the 13-year-old boys in your class, because they're constantly acting straight ridiculous, and they're probably making comments about it to you, so it makes you even more self-conscious.
I would not go back to that.
And you're like, that's when most people are like starting their period, like 12, 13.
Yep.
Everything about it's just the worst. Yep. Never could you pay me enough to be 12 or 13.
Absolutely not.
Oh, no. Nope. Never.
Nope. I'll stay this age, or whatever age I continue,
Yeah.
Thank you. I will not go backward. Ever, ever.
And I wouldn't want to go backwards, but if someone was like, I'll pay you a exorbitant amount of money if you were pick an age to go back to or whatever, most, like, I would be fine with.
Depends, too, if you get to go back with the knowledge you have or just go back to that age with no knowledge.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, from 16 on, I probably would be like, you know what, either way.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever. But never would I consent to be 12 or 13 again.
Nope.
Never in my life.
No thank you.
Ugh, gross.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. So then Harry and Ron are on their way back to Gryffindor Tower.
Right. Lupin keeps the map.
Yeah, Lupin keeps the map, and Harry and Ron are both fully chastised at this point and feeling real bad about themselves. Mm-hmm. As they should.
As they should.
They're acting crazy.
Mm-hmm. Careless.
And they run into Hermione, and she's like, yo, Buckbeak lost, and he's going to be executed.
Yep.
And they're like, damn it.
Yeah. But there's a silver lining to this horrible, horrible moment because it brings them back together.
Yeah.
Hermione apologizes about Scabbers.
Yeah.
And the trio is the trio once more.
Again. Yeah. I do think that whenever when Ron discovered Scabbers was gone, he doesn't ever really give her the opportunity to apologize.
No.
She does try to defend herself, obviously, because he comes at her so hot.
Yes.
And then he just doesn't give her an opportunity to apologize.
No.
And after the whole blow up is over, she probably just doesn't feel like he would be receptive.
No.
And so she never approaches him again.
Yeah, this is like the third time that they've
had this fight.
Yeah. Or that they've cut her off, we're not talking to you,
So
she's over it.
At that point, she's just like, I can't deal with this anymore.
Right.
So she probably didn't feel there was any utility in apologizing to him, even though she never wanted Scabbers to die.
No. And didn't Ron even say, he was kind of a whatever rat?
Old anyway,
yeah, he was old anyway. So, they've made up.
We've made up.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
I can't take any more of this.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Too much. So during their next Care of Magical Creatures class, they talk with Hagrid and kind of get more details or try to get more details, but he just becomes upset and he begins to cry and, ugh.
Poor Hagrid.
I know. And he's already been having a hard time because he's just been having them, like, deal with flobberworms and, like, boring stuff.
Yeah.
Because the first class went so
Wild.
horribly because of Malfoy, not because of anything Hagrid did.
Yeah.
But yeah, Malfoy starts making fun of him, and this is one of the best moments in the book. Hermione slaps him across the face.
Yeah, because he deserves it. What a little dick.
Yeah. Does she slap him twice?
No, I think she just slaps him once.
Felt like she slapped him twice, or maybe I was just like, give him another one.
Yeah. Get the other side.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. For sure.
She's had enough this year.
Yeah.
You know what?
Listen, don't
Here it
cross
comes.
her. She is not dealing with any more bullshit at this point.
Nope.
Fully over it.
She's all out of cares and grace for people who are acting a fool. And
yeah, exactly.
it's Slap City, sir.
That's right. This one's coming at you.
Right. 100% deserved.
Fully deserved. Mm-hmm. Especially, you know, not just the making fun of Hagrid. That's bad enough. But he's mistreated all of them for nigh on 3 years.
This is a long time coming.
Long time coming. So, yeah. So next, we're in Charms class. And Hermione is nowhere to be found. She misses class entirely.
Oops.
And they find her in the common room asleep. And she's tired, she's stressed, and she's super like, damn it, I missed class. I forgot to go to Charms.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. And Harry and Ron are pretty confused.
Yeah. Like, how is this happening anyway?
What are you doing? And there are multiple callbacks throughout the book where Harry thinks to himself, how in the fuck is she doing this? What is
Ron,
going on?
Yeah, and Ron outright asks her, and she just, like, blows it off.
Yeah, she just, like, glosses over it.
Right.
And...
oh, don't be ridiculous. I can't be in two places at once. Okay,
like,
but
yeah,
you are. Yeah. So how?
Like, I know. That's what I'm saying. And she just, continues to blow him off. And they go up. They're going to divination. And Trelawney is on her shit again.
Yeah.
She's predicting Harry's death. She sees another Grim in his crystal ball. And Hermione's like, I've had it.
I'm done with this class. And Trelawney insults Hermione, basically. It's just like, you're
closed-minded.
Right.
Yeah.
You're a dried up old woman in your mind and you just can't.
Yeah.
You have no imagination or openness to divination, so.
Yeah. And Hermione's like, you know what? You're right. Bye.
Bye.
I'm out of here.
Yep.
And Harry and Ron are like, damn, what is this?
Yeah.
You slap Malfoy, now you're walking out of class.
She's tired, she's exhausted, she's upset, she's stressed. Enough is enough.
That's right. She cannot handle any more of it. Mm-hmm. So.
Her stress just continues to mount.
It does. It just mount. And we're now at exams.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at its pinnacle. Mm-hmm. Stress-wise. Hermione is like to the maximum.
100.
100%.
Said for the millionth time now. I can't stop myself. I'm sorry.
You know what? At least we're aware.
Yeah. Every time it comes out of my mouth, I'm like, why do you keep saying that?
Sometimes
I cannot be stopped today. I'm so sorry.
Sometimes you just get on like a kick of saying something and it just continues to come out.
I'm about to kick myself in the face if I don't stop saying it. Anyway. It's time for some stress relief, and we get the final Quidditch match. Woo woo! I say stress relief. It's probably very stressful for them.
So stressful, but not for the crowd.
No, for the crowd, it's exciting.
It's exciting.
So, Gryffindor versus Slytherin.
Hey,
you know, tensions between the houses obviously have mounted this entire time. We are at the tippy-top peak of all that. Wood keeps telling Harry that they must win by more than 50 points in order to win the Quidditch Cup. So he is being very strategic, waiting for the right moment to catch the snitch.
That's right.
In this instance, this is when we get a good example of, because everyone's like, well, the snitch is worth so many points, and why does it matter what the other people do? This is an example of why it matters.
Yeah.
Because it's not just who's won the most matches, it's by how many points as well. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It matters here.
it matters. It matters.
Yeah, there's some intricacy here. So, yeah, they have to wait. Harry has to bide his time.
Yeah, he can't just go get the snitch
Yeah.
when he sees it. He's got to wait till Gryffindor is up.
Yeah, but he does have to be aware of the other seeker and make sure that
They don't get
they
it.
don't get the snitch. So we have some strategery at work here.
For sure. And, you know, of course, Slytherin is fouling
Oh,
the Gryffindors left and
Yeah.
right, which honestly is stupid because Gryffindor is such a good team. It's like you're just going to give them an opportunity to get an unblocked
shot.
goal.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's unblocked like it is in, because I guess
I think it depends.
I'm thinking in basketball, you know, no one's
The
blocking
free
you when you
throws,
take
yeah.
a free throw, but in like hockey, there's a goalie there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, yes,
I
the
think
goalies
the
are
keeper
there.
is there, yeah.
So not an unblocked goal, but still, it's like not no other interference besides the goalie. It's like you're just giving this team opportunities
Yeah.
left and right to
Yeah.
get more points on you.
Yeah.
Because clearly your goalkeeper is not as good.
As would.
So
As the chasers.
sorry.
Yeah. I know. It seems very odd to foul.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they think they're going to get away with it.
They do
and
think they're going to get away
obviously
with it. Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah.
So many just foul shots
Yeah.
or penalty shots or whatever. So
Yeah. So, yeah. It's a dirty game for real skis. But eventually, Gryffindor does get 50 points up. And so Harry's like, I got to get the snitch right now. Mm-hmm. But Malfoy sees it first. And so Harry has to erase him.
Yep.
And
Neck and neck.
They're neck and neck. But Harry does manage to outstrip Malfoy and get the snitch.
Was there ever any doubt?
No. I mean, and we needed a Quidditch cup for Gryffindor. We had to have it.
Had to have it.
And Wood needed to be still at Hogwarts. So this had to be the one.
Yes.
Because he's 7th year at this point. This is his last opportunity.
He would have had a mental breakdown.
Yeah. I would...
A early life crisis that he would never have recovered from.
No. Exactly. We would have had to have some words with Joanne because if she would have deprived our dear Oliver Wood of at least one Quidditch cup, problems.
It would have destroyed him. And
Yeah.
he would never have been the same. We would never have been the same.
No. They would have been unforgivable.
But thank goodness, Gryffindor wins
Yep.
the Quidditch Cup.
Yep. The cup is theirs. Finally.
Yes.
Finally.
Finally.
But then it's time for exams.
I was going to say, we don't get to chill out much because
Nope.
it's test time.
Test time. Yikes. I feel like it's extra stressful because it seems like most of the weight of like passing their classes is on the exam as opposed to their homework throughout the year.
Agreed. Yeah, it's like how you perform in the test.
Yeah.
That sets the tone for your classes the next year, especially
Yeah.
the older you
yeah,
get.
Yeah. That's how it is at law school. I mean, you have assignments throughout the year, but your grade is the exam at the end.
I would not have performed well in that environment.
It was wild because, and especially coming out of like, I got an English degree. We didn't really have tests.
Really? Oh, it was.
You wrote papers.
Right.
So like you have smaller grades throughout the year
Right.
of like papers, reading responses, stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then you have your big paper at the end.
Yeah.
Like your 20, 30 page paper at the end. So, you kind of have a gauge on how you're going to do in the class.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
you have the whole semester essentially to have the brainchild and
Yeah.
then work through the paper. But in law school,
It's all or nothing at the end of the year.
yeah,
huh?
you get one shot at passing that class. At the later years, I believe, I didn't attend, but I think the later years are different. But that first year, and
They're trying to weed out the weak ones.
they are trying to weed out. And there's a huge first year curve too.
Really?
So like only so many people can get A's, only so many people can get B's, only so many people can get C's. So you could take your test, get like a 93%, which in regular grading scale would be an A,
Yeah.
and you would still get a B.
But if enough people got a higher percentage than you,
They
then,
get the A's and you get a B.
oh, heck no.
It sucks. It really sucks. That's why it's very competitive too.
Right.
Because like what you do in order to like build your study guide for the exam at the end is you start outlining from day one. Like you're outlining and adding to your outline, so that by the time you get to the exam, you've already put in most of the work to like study, you know it. And you have the whole semester's worth of information in this like document that you can reference to get ready. And people will not share. Like there's no...
Oh, well, no. If you know that you are going to get bumped down a grade if someone does slightly better than you.
Yeah.
No. That's just, no. Not for me.
It's heavily competitive. And
congratulations to the rest of you that thrive in that. Not this guy.
Yeah. I was lucky enough that my class was not cutthroat about it. Like people would help you out. Like if you had to miss a class or something, they would give you like their notes or whatever. So it wasn't super cutthroat. But Lauren, she went to a different law school than I did. Oh. And she was like, oh yeah, these people were cutthroat.
That's terrible.
Like, ugh, that sucks.
That's terrible.
Yeah. So I don't know. But yeah, it wasn't a fun environment. It's fun information to learn, but the environment, but the field of law when you get out, it's also, that's what it is. It's a competition.
I was going to say, I guess they're preparing you for what it is.
Yeah. So thank God I did not proceed down that path any further because I would not have loved it.
Right.
So,
but anyway. So exam time. And we've got the Defense Against the Dark Arts. It's a practical exam, as it should be.
As it should be.
Really. But so Harry gets a perfect score.
Duh.
Our little magical man. Mm-hmm. Are we surprised?
No. This is his subject.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And then we've got divination, and the final is not great.
It seems like a crystal ball, right?
Yeah. It's just like, can I make something up that will satisfy her?
Yeah. And he did. He was like making up Buckbeak's like second appeal or whatever.
Well, he did, but he didn't, right? Because what she wanted him to say was that Buckbeak dies.
Right, exactly.
And she kept like leading, I mean, to use a legal term, she was like leading the witness here. She was like, don't you see a headless one though? Don't you see someone crying beside the body? Like, and Harry's just like, no, I see a happy Buckbeak alive flying away. He gets a passing grade, but she's just like, oh, you tried your best, dear.
Yeah.
What the heck? This chick.
Yeah.
She's got problems.
She has problems.
But, so, I think he passed, but.
Yeah. And, he gets up. He's like, I don't care. I'm getting out of here.
Right.
If I fail, I fail.
This lady's crazy. I'm not saying what she wants me to say.
That's right.
But then all of a sudden, Trelawney changes and her voice changes. Mm-hmm. And she's in a trance. And then she spits out a prophecy. Mm-hmm. And she says that the Dark Lord's servant will rejoin him tonight before midnight.
Ooh.
And then she snaps out of it and doesn't remember any of it.
Yeah.
What is the point? Okay, because apparently there's not a ton of seers, okay?
Right.
Like true seers.
True.
If you do have the gift, that's great. But is it just her who is unaware of her real power? Or is it all seers? Because to me, if you have this power, but you can't remember what you prophesied, if you're alone, then what's the point?
I agree. And I mean, what's the point of having divination as a subject, period, if a true seer is, one, that rare, and two, doesn't ever remember their actual, like, prophecies?
Yeah.
What's the point of the subject? Like, it's clearly just random.
Right. I could see where, because it's not even like when they do astrology and they're interpreting the placement of stars and stuff. It's like you're literally just like guessing, I don't know. But then again, like some of the students could actually see things in the crystal ball. So maybe there are certain aspects of it that you can be like mildly able to do as a skill, but like to make prophecies is a very rare skill. I mean, Dumbledore wasn't even going to have the class.
Yeah.
But then when Sybil made the first prophecy, he's like, ooh, I got to keep her close.
Yeah. Yeah. More for her safety than believing it was a subject that should be taught.
Right, for
Yeah.
her safety,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing maybe in case there were more, but I think mostly it was for her safety. But yeah, so, but needless to say, she has made another prophecy, and it's a doozy. And then, of course, she doesn't remember. Harry's like, excuse me, what?
I'm
She's
sorry,
like,
what?
Yeah, and she's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? I didn't say that. Don't be silly. Get out of here.
It must be the heat.
Right. It's warm up here. Oh my goodness. So,
Yeah.
of course, he immediately runs to tell Ron and Hermione, but unfortunately, it's just more bad news. And
Yeah.
they tell him that Buckbeak lost his appeal and he will be executed at sunset.
Oh, yeah. So they obviously run straight to Hagrid.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, well, we gotta go.
Rules be forgotten,
Yeah.
thrown out the
No
window
one cares.
per usual, but, this time, really, there's a good reason.
This makes sense. So they're at Hagrid's hut, and they're trying to make tea, kind of console him, and Hermione gets out the milk jug, and wouldn't you know, Scabbers is in the milk jug.
Interesting.
He's not dead. He's alive. And Ron's like, what the? Scabbers, get over here.
Yeah.
And he puts Scabbers right in his pocket, but he's like, he's trying to escape.
Yeah, he's like,
Squeaking
hey,
around.
you're my rat. I'm your man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm your person. Stop trying to run away from me.
Yeah, you're fine.
Right.
Stop being crazy.
Right.
So,
That's good news.
Scabbers is alive and well. So at this point, they see the executioner and company basically on their way. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione get under the cloak and they leave the cabin, and they're walking away. And then they can hear the thud of the axe.
Yeah. And it was so sweet when they're leaving. They're like, just let us tell them what we know. And he's just like, no, I don't want you guys to get in trouble for being here. You need to go.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
Don't listen.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sad.
Yep. I think they hear the wail of Hagrid. They hear like a big wail or sound, and they know that it's done.
It's happened. Oh.
But Scabbers doesn't care about what's going on, and he is just won't stand still. Keeps trying to wiggle out of Ron's grasp.
Yep.
And then Crookshanks, popping out of nowhere, is slinking toward them in the grass. This cat.
Cat is relentless.
He is just out and about out here.
He is. He's everywhere.
Right. He needs to be, well, he doesn't, but maybe if this were a problem, he should be in a crate or something.
Yeah.
But so not only is he slinking towards them, but then he's closely followed by a large black dog. Same black dog that Harry saw Crookshanks conspiring with near the Black Forest before.
Yep.
At least that's what we're pretty sure we saw.
Pretty sure.
So here comes, I don't know, this little duo here. And the dog grabs Ron and is dragging Ron towards the Whomping Willow. Mm-hmm. I'm sure all the while Scabbers is just like freaking out, biting Ron. Ron's just holding on to Scabbers for dear life.
Yeah.
And Harry and Hermione follow. At first, they get hit by the willow's branches, but then they stop. And they notice it's because Crookshanks has touched the knot at the base of the tree, and it has frozen the branches.
Yep.
This cat is not a normal cat.
No, this is not a normal cat.
But yeah, the dog is pulling Ron down underneath the Whomping Willow, and Ron and Hermione follow.
Yep. And Ron does break his leg at this point.
Oh, yes. I mean...
Yeah. He tries to, like, wrap it around the tree, and the dog's, like, pulling him, and then it's, like, just snaps.
Snapperoonie.
Yikes.
So they follow, and there are actually tunnels beneath the roots that lead... We're not sure where.
We're not sure where yet.
Until we get there, and we realize that we are now in the Shrieking Shack in Hogsmeade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So... They hear the voices, so they follow them, and they get into this room, and they see Ron. His leg's broken. He's laying on this bed in this room. Mm-hmm. And then they see Sirius Black, who had been the black dog.
Yep. Ooh. Doggy footsteps lead to Man in the Corner. Man in the Corner is Sirius Black.
That's right. So Black disarms Harry and Hermione, and he's, doing his thing, and Harry's like, nah, I'm not going to stand for this.
Nope.
So he just basically jumps on Black. He's like, give me give me our shit.
Yeah. Give me the wand. Give me, you know, I'm attacking you. I'm defending us. Whatever.
Yeah. So they have like a struggle, and Harry eventually does get their wands back because Black is like emaciated from not only being in Azkaban but on the run. I'm guessing he doesn't have like 3 squares a day.
I'm thinking he's probably not even having one decent square.
Yeah. So even though Harry's only 13, he's pretty even match for this emaciated man. So he gets their wands back and forces Black into the corner and is basically like, listen here, bud.
Right.
I'm in charge.
Right. Yet, strangely, Crookshanks stands between Harry and Black.
He does. Blocking him.
Why are you best friends with this murderer, Crookshanks?
Besties. He's protecting him.
Yep.
Yeah. So before Harry can do anything, Lupin shows up.
Burr, 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 burr. Here comes the cavalry. Thank you, Lupin. But wait.
Oh, no. Then Lupin, what does he do? He disarms Harry and gets all the wands. All the wands there. And Lupin looks at Black and he's like, where is he? And he points at Ron.
Our sweet Ron Weasley?
What do you mean?
Why are you pointing at Ron?
This is when we know something's up.
He's a child. Why are you accusing him? What are you accusing him of?
What is going on here? So,
yeah. Pointing straight at Ron. Everyone's like, what? But Lupin and Black seem to have a silent agreement on something, and then they hug. So they friends. They still friends, I guess.
Yep.
Hermione has, as we've said, she has hit her, like, I ain't taking no more meter.
Yeah.
It's exploded. She loses her temper, and she's yelling at Lupin, you know, calling him a traitor and saying how she knew his secret and that she should have revealed a long time ago that he is a werewolf. Mm-hmm. What?
Yep.
That's why he's sick, especially around the phases of the moon, and that's why Snape set the essay, all this stuff. And Lupin's just kind of like, listen, you just need to understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
It's not what it looks like.
It's not what it looks like. Let us explain.
Right. So he explains that they're not pointing at Ron. They're pointing at Peter Pettigrew, who is in fact not dead, but it is the rat scabbers.
Ooh, plot twist.
Yep. Ron's in complete denial. He's like, no.
Yeah, you're insane.
This rat has been in my family, and they're like, 12 years. Rats don't live that long, sir.
Which is whenever at the beginning, when they were in Diagon Alley at the magical menagerie place, the person who worked there is like, rats usually live like 2 or 3 years.
Right. I don't know how this rat's still alive.
What is happening?
But no wonder it looks like it's on death's door.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, and yeah, okay, so you're telling me this is a man?
This is a man? Come on.
What? So, and Black wants to kill Scabbers / Peter, but Lupin makes him wait, and he's like, you need to explain to them what is happening. You need to explain it to Harry. Yeah. They need to understand what's happening.
Exactly. So this is when Lupin basically starts with his story about how he went to Hogwarts and he got the werewolf bite when he was really young. His family was afraid he wasn't ever going to be able to go to Hogwarts because of his condition. But Dumbledore was able to, he was like, hey, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to come as long as we take precautions. So they built the Whomping Willow over the entrance to the Shrieking Shack for Lupin, basically.
So that he could transform in the Shrieking Shack and be away from people and have a safe transformation.
Yeah. So...
but it was so sad because it talked about like how he would like bite himself and stuff because he was, in that like enraged wolf mind and he's by himself. So he had nothing else to attack or do. And so heartbreaking.
So heartbreaking. But, at Hogwarts, he met Sirius Black and James and Peter Pettigrew, and they were his friends. And obviously they noticed when he kept disappearing, and so they realized, they put 2 and 2 together, he's a werewolf, blah, blah, blah. And instead of, like, being weirded out and disowning him, they decided to become animaguses?
Animaguses?
Animagus? shapeshifters,
Right.
essentially. And
Unregistered shapeshifters. Because, like McGonagall, she is an animagus, but she is registered.
Yeah. So, like, there's a register, and it says what you turn into, what your markings are,
right,
and all that.
So they can keep track.
They can keep track. And so
these rapscallions did not do that.
They did not, no. So James and Sirius would turn into large animals, like the dog, and Peter turned into a rat so he could touch the knot on the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And they managed it while they were, like, 5th years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So every month they would have their, like, adventures as animals, and that's how they created the Marauders map.
Yeah. They are the Marauders.
They are the Marauders. Lupin is Moony, Peter is Wormtail, Sirius is Padfoot, and James was Prongs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beginning of the story, basically.
Yeah. Lupin barely finishes when Snape busts in, appears in the room. Well, I guess he doesn't bust in, but he reveals himself because he grabbed the invisibility cloak that Harry dropped once Ron got grabbed by the ankle.
Yeah.
So, he reveals himself to the room. Snape is so pumped. He can hardly stand it.
Yeah,
because,
he's, like, vibrating.
Yeah, he's like, I flippin' knew it. Lupin, you were the one that let Black into the school. You've been helping him clearly. Mm-hmm. I was right all along. I get to turn in Black and get him the Dementor's kiss. This is like Christmas for me. He is so excited.
And on top of that, he thinks he's going to get Harry, Ron, and Hermione all expelled.
Yes. I mean, this is a dream come true.
Oh, yeah. This is everything he could have ever wanted.
If not more.
Oh, yeah. Beyond his wildest dreams.
Yes. But, but the kids are like, wait. Well, I don't know about the kids necessarily, but definitely Lupin's like, you don't understand. Like, let us explain.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's just too euphoric. He's like, no way.
Yeah, he's blinded.
I got you.
Yeah.
I've got you.
Exactly.
This is it. But Harry wants to hear more.
He does.
So he Expelliarmus Snape, doesn't he?
He does, along with Ron and Hermione, and all 3 of them do it at the same time, and it knocks him out.
I forgot. The 3 of them do it all at once, and woo doozy, does he get hit with that spell?
Yeah, he does.
And he is, as she said, knocked out. So it's like, okay, Sirius Black, this is your time to shine.
Yeah.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Right.
And this better be good because we're fucked.
Right.
Basically.
Right. And we all have wands pointed at you, so get to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Black basically explains that he recognized Peter's rat form because he saw in the paper when the Weasleys won the prize money.
Yep, in the trip to Egypt.
In the trip to Egypt, he saw Peter on Ron's shoulder. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, how would you have known that was, how do you know what rat that is? And he's like, well, not only have I seen Peter's rat form millions of times, but also the only thing they found of Peter was a finger. Mm-hmm. And if you notice, that rat is missing one of his toes.
Uh-huh.
So, beep boop. Knew it was him. And so that piece of information, everyone's kind of like,
okay.
Huh.
Okay.
You're onto something here.
Right.
And then he explains that before Lily and James died, and they were setting up their Fidelius charm and picking their secret keeper, that he persuaded them to use Peter as the secret keeper at the last minute because he thought that that people would assume that they picked Black to be the secret keeper. And nobody would have thought that they would have picked Peter because Peter was kind of an inept wizard.
Did he want to be like the decoy? Like they would come after... Did Sirius think that they would come after him and he would literally know nothing?
Exactly.
So it's not as if he would give it up because he wouldn't...
Because he couldn't.
Exactly. Not that I think that he would have given them up for 1 second. I think he would have. He says, I would have died.
Yeah.
He would have. So I'm not really fully sure why he convinced them to do this.
Yeah.
What his thought process was. But yes, he convinces them to use Peter as the secret keeper instead of him.
Yeah. I think in this moment, he was being like the too clever for his own good. Mm-hmm. Like I'm trying, instead of... he knew that he would never have sold them out, and So the obvious thing would have been for him to be the secret keeper.
Yeah.
Because he would never have sold them out.
Right.
But he was trying to, like, use misdirection and go the route that people would never have expected.
Right.
Trying to fool them or whatever.
Right.
So I think in that instance he was just
right.
He
and
was
I don't
doing
know
doing too much.
Right. And did he think that he would become weak and sell them out? Because, and I've heard people say this, the book doesn't say it, at least not at this moment, but I've heard people say, well, you can't torture a Fidelius charm out of someone. They have to tell it to you willingly. But to me, that's what that's how it works. They torture you until you willingly give something up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so again, like I said, the book didn't say that, but I've heard people say that. So they're like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why did he think he would give it up? You know, but I agree with you. I think it was just a tactical choice.
Yeah, I don't.
Not he thought he was weak or wouldn't be able to withstand or, you know, didn't want to be tortured. I think it was just a misdirection.
It was definitely an attempt at misdirection. I don't think it had anything to do with him thinking he would give it up under torture.
Yeah.
Because he says it right there.
Yeah,
I would have died.
I would have died. Yeah.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. I think he was just trying to misdirect.
Right.
And it obviously backfired because he didn't assume that Peter was a Death Eater at this point. So
and would betray them.
And would betray them willingly.
Right. He's just like, they'll come after me. They won't even suspect you.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So he was willingly putting himself in the path of danger, essentially.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, but clearly this obviously backfired because Peter was the turncoat all along. And just offered up the secret to Voldemort.
Yep.
Without second thought.
Now, I went pretty hard at the end of the last episode, was like, how do you do that to your best friend? You were the best man at his wedding. You were the godfather of his son. Still same question for Peter. He may not have been as important to James. I think that he was just as important to James. He just didn't have those roles.
Yeah.
But, like, he was one of the core four, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, you know, so how do you do that? How do you betray? But they talk about how, like, you know, when they're mad at him and they're kind of like, you just linked up with us because you thought we would protect you. Like, basically, like, their friendship towards him was genuine, but obviously his friendship towards them was not. It's like, it's just like, oh, they'll protect me. Oh, they're tough. They're big. They've got my back. It's like, and that's what drew him to Voldemort. Like, oh, well, I don't want to be on the losing side. If everything goes to crap, I'll go follow the Dark Lord, you know. What a weak piece of crap.
Yeah. And I think, and then, you know, Hermione does pose the question, like, because at this point they do the spell, because they're still like, okay, I get your story, whatever, but why would he live his life as a rat? Like, I don't believe. They're still skeptical. So Lupin's like, all right,
let me show you.
Enough of this.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. Mm-hmm. So he does the spell, and Peter is Scabbers.
Yep. Scabbers turns into Peter Pettigrew, human form.
Here we are. So he's a short, balding man. And they're like, whoa. And I'm sure Ron is probably pretty creeped out. Like,
oh my gosh. We don't talk about it in the book, or the book doesn't talk about it, but creepy, sir.
When you think about the logistics of this scenario, this is an adult man as a rat sleeping in the bed of a child.
And not just Ron's. He was Percy's rat, too.
Percy.
And I imagine probably Charlie or Bill's as well, because he's been passed down.
12 years. You know? Sleeping in the bed with a child.
Now, I want to know, did he just, like, show up at their house and they were like, oh, we'll keep this rat? Did he sneak into a pet store? Like, I want to know how the Weasleys
got this rat. Yeah, I agree.
But also, sucks to be you, dummy dum-dum, because you just became the pet rat of the family that is directly in cahoots with Harry Potter. So you really got off the radar, you dumb.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, the logistics of this are very creepy and weird.
Yes.
But, you know, moving away from that, because it's unexplainable.
Right.
So Peter at first is like, I didn't do this. I didn't kill them. I've been scared for my life.
Right.
And they're like, okay, sure, you've been scared for your life. That makes sense. While Sirius has been locked up in Azkaban, how could you have assumed he would break out when it's never been done before? You're not making sense here.
Nope.
So I don't believe you.
Right.
And eventually he's like, admits what he did. He's like, they were going to kill me. And well, you should have died.
Right.
As we would have done for you.
Right. But I don't even think that he would have died. I think that he told them pretty willingly.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I absolutely don't think this was a scenario where he was cornered.
No.
And his life threatened.
Even in the beginning, I think he was just like...
Yeah, I think
Hello.
I think they even say it. He'd been working with Voldemort for over a year.
Right.
So...
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if Voldemort approached him or if Peter approached Voldemort.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
Little worm that he is.
Exactly. So Lupin and Sirius are like, all right, well, we've explained it. We've proven it to the one person who matters the most.
Yep.
So now we're going to kill you.
Right.
Basically. You know? No big deal.
Right. Harry's like, wait, don't kill him. And they're like, excuse me, he deserves to be killed.
He's the reason you have no parents.
Right. And Harry's like, that might be true, but I don't think my parents would want you both to become killers.
Yep.
And also, if we prove that he's alive...
You're absolved.
You're absolved, Sirius. Like, you're off
free.
the hook.
Free man.
Yeah. So, like, oh, you know what? That does sound better than being on the
Fair
run for
point.
the rest of our lives. Like, yeah, let's go with that plan.
Fair point. But I wonder what... So if they would have killed Peter and they just had his dead body there, and they're like, all right, well, let's take dead Peter up to the castle and explain the situation. Like, clearly, he faked his death.
Yeah.
And he's been living as a rat.
Maybe they would have thought it was like some sort of dark magic, like
Maybe.
a fake body. Like,
Yeah.
it could be explained away if you really didn't want to
Maybe.
see the truth. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, they could...
And then the Veritaserum maybe comes into play.
Why didn't we use
like-
any of that
I feel like
this
we need
this
to be,
book?
Yeah, we need to be using Veritaserum at every turn in,
All the
in my
time.
book. Like,
All the time.
I think you're lying. Let me go get the Veritaserum.
Right. All the time. That's what it is. I think that the Fidelius charm you can't even be given, like, Veritaserum and have the secret be spit out. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Could be.
I don't know. There's so many books and so many years of so many theories, and it's all jumbled in my brain.
Yeah, and it gets difficult after so many years, and it's difficult to, like, suss out what's theory and what's canon.
Right.
Because if it's not on the page in the book,
Right.
I feel like everything else is conjecture.
Even if it was on MuggleNet or Pottermore or whatever, it's still like, unless JK wrote it.
Yeah,
I can't count it canon.
Yeah, even, like, the stuff that she's, like,
Added later.
I just kind of ignore most of it.
Yeah, you mean like the wizards just went to the bathroom wherever they wanted and disappeared it? That was something she posted online one time, and
they have
disturbed
bathrooms.
me.
They have bathrooms.
That was like before bathroom.
Well, I feel like that's kind of just what people did anyway.
Right, but still, it was just like I didn't need that.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree. It's like, just if it's not in the books, then whatever. So I'm sorry if I sound unintelligent or misinformed in all my ramblings. Just like I said, there's been so many things that I've read and heard, and of course, people always trying to correct the books. Like, well, why weren't Lily and James their own secret keepers? It's like, first of all, okay, that makes sense.
But I don't think they could have been.
Right. It's like, but second of all, let's just pretend that there's a rule that says that you can't keep a secret for someone who's also in protection with you. Third of all, it had to happen this way for the story to continue. So just get over it. Yeah. I guess.
If you enjoy the books, just enjoy them, and don't, whenever something like that the answer is it's a plot device.
Right.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
And you just have to accept that in any given story, there is going to be a plot device.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
Book, movie, play, there are plot devices in there because this has to happen to forward the plot to get to here.
Right.
And sometimes those are a little clunky, and sometimes they work seamlessly.
Right.
It just depends.
It just is what it is.
So you're just going to have to suck it up, I guess, basically.
Yep. So that's the answer to why we didn't use Veritaserum.
Yeah.
We needed it, but we didn't know we needed it yet.
That's true. It doesn't come up.
And also, I think the people that would have been in power to use it, they already knew the narrative that they wanted. Mm-hmm. They had no need.
Yeah, they don't
use Veritaserum.
Yeah. And I know that like making Veritaserum is very difficult. Only a few people can actually successfully pull it off. The ingredients are very hard to get. It takes like a month to make. So sure, but I feel like the ministry, they have to have like a huge stockpile of Veritaserum.
If they don't, they should.
Yeah, I mean, you're a government, you have the law enforcement.
Let's just get to the truth. Let's not play games here.
Yeah.
Let's get the truth.
You don't need a whole bunch of witnesses. Just get out your Veritaserum.
Right.
But I guess the argument could be made for like maybe somebody thinks this is the truth.
Right.
And so when you give them the Veritaserum, this answer they're telling you is the truth.
It's a bit dodgy. Them. Yes. There are definitely...
There are blockades there.
For sure.
So I get it. Sure.
But I guess we're getting a little ahead of ourselves even talking about Veritaserum because we're still in the shack, but we're... So we've all agreed, okay, this is what really happened. Sirius is innocent.
Telling the truth. He's innocent.
Let's round up Snape. Let's keep him asleep because obviously if we wake him up, he's gonna
lose his mind.
Run amok. So let's float him back to the school. Let's handcuff Peter to Ron and Lupin.
They put a little spell on him so he can't transform back into a rat.
Right. And we're just like marching back through the tunnel towards the school.
Mm-hmm. That's
right. And we're having a jolly old time. And then Sirius is just like choosing this immediate moment to go, hey, Harry.
I'm your godfather.
Just in case, I don't know if you know, I'm your godfather.
Yeah.
And only if you want to. I just want you to know it's an option, when I'm cleared and, get to live my life again. If you want to live with me, that'd be stupendous.
Yeah.
But if not, if you want to stay with the Dursleys, like, no big deal. Harry's like, not even a second thought. He's like, stay away from the Dursleys?
Hell
yeah. Which I do feel like this is moving a little fast, but, maybe he's been waiting. Sirius has been waiting for this moment for these last 12 years.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I just want to do the duty that my friends wanted me to do.
I feel like, and Sirius did know Harry as a baby, like his first year of life with James and Lily.
Yeah.
So I feel like Sirius probably feels like he knows Harry.
Even if they weren't hiding, surely they were sending pictures and, writing about him. And,
Sirius bought Harry his first broomstick.
Yeah.
So I feel like for Sirius, it's not that much of a stretch. He probably still feels like he knows Harry, but Harry...
Yeah.
He doesn't know this man.
But I mean, if you had to live with the Dursleys, you would choose the about to be acquitted murderer as well.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah. So we're having a nice little moment, and then
ooh. The clouds shift.
Oh boy, does it shift.
Oh, and then poor Lupin, he turns into a werewolf.
Yep. Oh man. He's half handcuffed to Peter, who's handcuffed to Ron, whose leg is still injured because, we're not going to pull a Gilderoy Lockhart here.
No,
we're going to wait till we get to Madame Pomfrey.
That's right.
And let her do what she does best.
And that's heal.
Uh-huh. So, Snape is still passed out.
Yeah.
Unconscious.
Yep.
He ain't protecting nobody. And Sirius is like, kids, you need to run. I will take care of these handcuffs over here. Get Ron loose, Well, in all the hubbub, Peter gets out of his chains.
Yeah.
Well, because he gets himself over to Lupin's dropped wand. Bada bing, bada boom with the wand. Turns himself into a rat. He slips through the handcuffs.
Yep.
And it runs off.
Yep. And I think he does some spell on Ron, like knocks him out or something.
I don't know if he knocks him out or just like Ron is incapacitated because of his broken leg anyway.
Yeah.
But there could be a little bit of that too. But I mean, he's also one of three him and Peter are handcuffed to a transforming werewolf, which is dangerous as well. But I can't remember. He may incapacitate Ron also, but then gets himself turned into a rat and he's out of there. Nobody can do anything. He turns into a rat. He's so small. He runs so fast. It's dark. And we're worried about, being torn to shreds.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yep.
He escapes and Sirius is like, you guys need to
get out of here.
And he kind of runs after
Lupin.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in his dog form.
Yeah.
So Ron is knocked out.
Yeah.
And then they hear a dog yelp. And they're like, oh shit, it's Sirius. So they run after him. And they find Sirius in his human form on the edge of the lake. And he is surrounded by the Dementors. Mm-hmm. So Harry tries to save him with his Patronus.
He's even like, Hermione, think of a happy thought. Repeat this spell. Like, this is like
on the
crash
fly,
course.
trying to teach her. And his Patronuses aren't strong enough. And he and Hermione are like getting weaker and weaker. And I think they both like fall over.
Yeah, I think he feels her fall over while he's still like
He's
just
trying.
His happy thought is, I'm going to live with Sirius. I don't have to go back to the Dursleys. Oh.
And then a Dementor sweeps in, lowers its hood, and starts to try to suck his soul out.
Harry hears the screaming that he always hears.
But then a bright light appears. And the Dementors are driven away, and Harry thinks he sees his dad.
Yeah, as he's passing out, he sees the bright light and a figure that looks like his dad. Crazy. And then we wake up in the hospital wing overhearing some conversation between Snape and Fudge.
Yep.
And of course, Snape is just like talking himself up. You know, Fudge is like, oh yeah, we'll get you a commendation. You know, you've done good work here today.
Yeah.
Snape is just like, yeah, can't wait to get Sirius that sweet Dementor's kiss.
Yep.
Also, you should really think about suspending these children. You know, they get away with a whole heck of a lot. And, you know, this is just the last straw, don't you think, Fudge? You know?
Yeah.
Especially that Potter kid. He's like, everyone seems to let him do whatever he wants. He's like, yeah, but I mean, come on. He's Harry Potter.
It's Harry Potter.
Yeah. But yeah, he's just like talking himself up, doing anything he can. He's just like, yeah.
Exactly.
I've got Sirius Black where I want him. It'll be frosting on the cake if I can also get these kids expelled.
That's right. And Harry and Hermione are hearing this, and they're like, oh shit. They jump out of bed and they run up to him, and they're trying to like tell the whole story. Peter's alive. And then Snape interjects, and he's like, oh, Sirius Black must have like confounded their minds.
Yes.
I saw it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Oh, Snape. So then we get Dumbledore. He's on the scene, and he's like, listen, I need the room with Harry and Hermione.
Yeah.
Get out.
Get out.
And Madame Pomfrey is also like, listen, these kids need rest.
Yeah.
You guys are disturbing my patients. Get out. So Fudge and Snape leave. Dumbledore closes the door, and he's like, listen here. I believe you. But there's no evidence. What we need is time. And Hermione's like, whoop.
Got it. Message received, sir.
Know what you mean. And he tells them that they'll be able to save 2 lives this evening. Whoa.
3 turns should do it.
3 turns should do it. And he also tells them the room that Sirius is being held in.
Yes. Yeah, he's like, this is the room he's in. It's up in a tall tower, just so you know.
Just for reference.
Yep.
So Hermione fully gets it. She's like, roger that. And so Dumbledore leaves and locks them in the hospital wing.
He's like, remember what time it is right now. It's like 15 to midnight or whatever it is.
You've got 3 hours.
Yeah.
And so Hermione pulls out a little hourglass out of her robes, and Harry's like, what is happening?
Yeah. No time to explain. Ron's still passed out over there.
Yeah, he's passed out. So she puts the chain around hers and Harry's necks and turns it 3 times. And they go back in time 3 hours.
And, you know, Harry is just shocked beyond belief.
Yeah. He's like, what?
Right.
Explain yourself. And she explains about the time turner, and she has it so she can get to all of her lessons, and that McGonagall had to write all these references to the ministry so she could get it, and blah, blah, blah.
Messing with time is a big deal.
Big deal, and the main thing is they cannot be seen.
Cannot be seen by themselves or anyone else.
Right.
You're not supposed to tamper with time, which I'm assuming that's why they let her have it, because she's not tampering with time. She's not trying to change anything. She's just trying to get more time to have classes.
Right, exactly.
Because the rules are, you know, about wizards that mess with time, which she is using time to her advantage, but she's not messing with it.
Right, exactly.
She's just taking more classes.
Exactly. So Harry realizes, because she keeps saying there must be something that happens about this time that Dumbledore wants us to change.
Right. Why did he keep saying, or why did he say that we could save 2 lives? Like, what other life?
What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And then, they hear themselves leaving the castle and going to Hagrid's, and Harry's like, Buckbeak. We got to save Buckbeak.
Right. Because how else are we going to get up to that big old tower and save him?
Yeah. So they're going to steal Buckbeak, and then Sirius is going to escape on him.
Yep.
Basically, that's the plan.
That's the plan.
So they wait behind Hagrid's hut for the best time, and what they're strategically doing is they have to wait until the committee sees Buckbeak back there, so they know Hagrid didn't just let him go.
Yes.
So they have to wait.
They have to see him out there chained up
Yeah,
before they enter the hut.
that's right.
And of course, Harry, like I would too, be like, can't we just run in there and grab Peter? Can't we just grab Peter at this moment? Can't we just listen, dude? I hear you. The rules are pretty specific and you can't be messing around.
That's right. Exactly.
But I hear you. And I would have wondered the same thing 20 billion times. But no, you cannot.
And this would be a very hard position to be in, knowing, like, not just knowing that getting Peter means that Sirius could be cleared, but also Peter is escaping and going back to Voldemort.
Right.
So
Per the prophecy, if you believe the second prophecy.
Yeah. So Harry's got to be, like, thinking in his brain, like, multiple bad things are going to happen if I don't get Peter.
Right. I know. Even part of my brain was like, what if he was, like, standing the direction, like, because there's a whole lot of waiting, obviously, in between all this stuff. But I was just like, if only they could have stood the direction that Peter ran. But they couldn't really see because he's tiny and it's dark and there was no way.
There's no way.
To do it all.
Yeah.
So they had to do the things that they could do.
Yep. I know. It's very difficult. I don't know. That's a lot of, like, self-control to not be like, let me snatch Peter.
Yeah, he's like, screw the rules, screw whatever, I'm going to go grab this guy.
Yeah.
Good for him for listening to Hermione and her common smart sense and be like, no, we got to do this the right way or this whole thing will fail.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yep.
So they wait for the strategic moment. Fudge and the executioner see Buckbeak. They go inside the hut. There's a couple close calls, but basically they get Buckbeak to follow them and come with them.
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
There we go.
And then we got to sit and wait.
Yeah, they have to wait for a while.
Right. And because we watch them as Ron gets dragged under the tree and all the, then Lupin and then Snape and Harry questions a couple moments and she's like, no, you can't.
Yeah.
And if he would have gone out, there's a couple close calls where it's like, oh, see, Hagrid would have seen us. Oh, see, Fudge and Dumbledore would have seen. It's like, we can't play around. We got to do this precisely.
By the book.
Precisely. And while they're waiting, Harry kind of tells Hermione about him going to live with Sirius. And then he also tells her about what he saw.
Yeah. And she's like...
Because she was like, how did we get saved? I don't understand.
Yeah.
And he's like, I feel crazy, but it looked like my dad. He's like, I know my dad's not alive. I know that he died. I know that it couldn't be him. I'm just telling you what I saw.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you what I saw. He doesn't have any, like, hopes that, like, his dad is alive. He's just like, that's just what I saw.
Yeah.
I know it sounds nuts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. But, so they're just chilling in the forest. And then Hagrid leaves his hut to go to the castle. And Harry kind of realizes that where they're at, if they stay there, Lupin runs right to that spot after he turns into a werewolf. So they go into Hagrid's hut that's now empty.
Yeah.
To not run into Lupin.
Right. Hermione and Buckbeak,
Yeah.
They all just kind of chill.
They're chilling in Hagrid's hut. And then Harry's like, I gotta see.
I gotta see what's going on so we know when the coast is clear to go get Sirius. Like, we can't know what's going on if we can't see.
Exactly.
Hermione's like, okay.
She's like, okay. But
I trust you.
she knows.
Yeah.
But he just wants to see who conjured the Patronus that saves them.
Yeah.
And if it was his dad, obviously. And then he realizes that it was him.
Right. He's like, wait, someone who looks like my dad who can perform a Patronus.
That's me.
It was me.
Yeah. So he does his Patronus, and it's a stag, which is what his dad always turned into.
That was his animagus form, was a stag.
And it saves everyone.
Yep. Which is so funny. How did you do it? If you can do it before well, I could do it this time because I did it last time. I
just knew that I had done it already.
It's like, does that make sense? I don't know.
Sure.
But it worked, so yay.
Yep. So at this point,
he did the Patronus. They clear off.
And then Snape comes later and, like, makes stretchers for them, gets them up to the castle, whatever. So Harry and Hermione fly Buckbeak up to the tower that Sirius is in. Mm-hmm. Get him out, and then they're, like, on the top tower, and Harry and Sirius have a bit of a moment together, right? And then Sirius flies off on Buckbeak.
He's just like, I'm going to see you again. Yeah. It's not that sweet little heartfelt moment that we get in the movie, you know?
Yeah.
So, but it is still like, you know.
It's an acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's like you are your father's son, you know, I will see you again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's still a nice moment.
It is, yeah. It's like just the acknowledgement that they're connected.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Sirius flies away on Buckbeak, and he's saved. Mm-hmm. And then Harry and Hermione have to get back to the hospital wing, and they get there just in time.
Yep.
And then they tell Dumbledore that they are successful, and he locks them back into their ward.
Yeah.
And they go, like, lay down, get in bed.
Yeah.
We've been here the whole time.
Yep. What do you mean? Nothing happened?
Yep.
What?
We did nothing.
He literally locked the door, and we've been in here.
We've been in here ever since?
What do you mean? Because not too long after, Snape gets word that Sirius has escaped, and he storms into the ward.
Pissed.
Yep. And he accuses Harry of helping Sirius, but of course, they've been locked in the ward the whole time.
That's right.
Wink, wink. As, you know, as he knows, as far as he knows, there's no. They've been in the ward the whole time.
Been in the ward.
Even if he is aware that Hermione has a time turner, as far as, like, movement of people has occurred, there's no way that he would have any inkling.
No, and
other than he just hates them, and he's like, well, they had to have helped him because they were rambling on about how he's innocent.
Yeah, and Madame Pomfrey's like, no, these children have not left their beds.
Right.
Sorry.
Because the instant that Dumbledore locked the door, she probably was like allowed to come.
Yeah.
From wherever she was hiding.
Right. Exactly.
Or was at.
Yeah.
Which it is kind of funny to me. Like, Sirius was up in the tower, like couldn't escape the room, but all Hermione had to do on the window was like an Alohomora. Like, I know that Sirius didn't have a wand, and I'm sure he was like weakened. Mm-hmm. But to me, I'm just like, it's your all's fault for that, like tying him up and
magically locking him in there.
Yeah. It's like a child could get him out of there. I know he's in a high tower, but you only have yourselves to blame.
Yeah, come on.
So sorry, but that was your failing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Snape is super enraged, and Fudge just thinks that Snape's unhinged, so it's like maybe no commendations for him.
Yeah.
Or definitely no commendations for him, because he got away, and he's also like, whoa, this dude is nuts.
Psycho.
Gonna just keep my distance.
Yeah. So the next morning, they find out that Lupin has resigned his teaching post.
Right, because magically word got out that he's a werewolf. I can't imagine who would have done that. Snape.
Snape is responsible.
Just ruining lives left and right. Yep. He couldn't get the Dementor's kiss on Sirius. He couldn't get the kids expelled, so he thought, I'll ruin Lupin's life.
Right.
And make him back to being destitute and, you know, begging for scraps, probably, because werewolves don't really get jobs, so.
Yep, that's right. So.
Thank you, Severus.
Ugh. But Lupin gives back the map and explains that he, Sirius, James, and Peter were the makers of the map and all of that. And, you know, everyone's sad.
Yeah.
Poor Lupin.
Yep.
They are on the train back to London, and Hermione tells them that she turned in the time turner and dropped enough classes to have a normal schedule. And Sirius sends Harry an owl, like, hey, your owl will find me. Keep in touch, basically.
Yep.
And the delivery owl is a tiny little fluff ball. And it's a gift to Ron because Sirius says it's my fault you no longer have a rat.
Yeah. So sweet.
It's really sweet.
Thinking of Ron.
Yep. I know. Oh.
And I think he signs it, like, he uses, like, code words and stuff for, like, Buckbeak, and he signs it, like, Padfoot or something.
Yeah,
like,
I think he signs it.
They don't use names
in
the letter. They don't want anything getting back to... They're they're going to be covert about this.
They're pretty covert, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is so great. So Sirius also puts in the letter a signed permission slip to go to Hogsmeade because he is, after all,
Harry's legal godfather.
Yep. And who's going to see this permission slip but Dumbledore? Dumbledore knows what's up, so he's allowed now.
Yep.
It was so funny. I meant to mention earlier, like, Snape was like, and I think this kid has illegally been going to Hogsmeade, too. Add it to his list. Really illegal? Is it illegal to go somewhere without a permission slip? Against the rules, sure. But he used the word illegal. I was just like, you are trumping up charges.
Snape.
You nutball.
Grasping at straws, my man.
Yep. So...
yeah, and that is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's really great because I think Harry does tell the Dursleys that about his godfather who's an ex-murderer, and they're just like, what?
Yeah, he's like, my godfather likes to keep tabs on me, you know? And then, you don't have a godfather. I'm like, yeah, I do. He was a murderer, you know?
Yeah.
Now he's gotten out, and...
so, yeah, just treat me nice.
You know. So...
yeah.
Hilarious.
But yes, that is the end of the book. I just had to throw that in there because it's such a great little...
it's such a cool
cherry.
Like, little cherry on top.
Yep.
So, but yeah, in our next novel, we were going to do a different one, but we've changed course and we've decided our next novel is none other than A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yep.
By one Sarah J. Maas.
You already got just a little sneak peek at some feelings.
You got a sneak peek. But you know what? There are many other thoughts and feelings, so buckle up.
Mm-hmm. Bless you. What happened? Is he okay?
Yeah, he's fine. He likes to exaggerate his sneezes sometimes. On purpose.
Oh my gosh. So funny.
Okay, so for final thoughts, I feel like we don't necessarily, I mean, it's pretty obvious how we like feel about these, but I thought it could be fun for us to start ranking the ones we've already read.
Yeah.
Not like our whole ranking, but just the first 3.
Yeah. Oh, that's hard. I'm so bad at ranking things. Especially these, because there's different things. Originally, I probably would have put this one first or second and put Chamber of Secrets last. Mm-hmm. I think I would say like 1, 2, 3 is the order in which I like them.
Really?
1, 2, 3.
Interesting.
Maybe 2 is a little higher than 1, but like 1 like sets the tone for everything, you know? And there's all the cool like stuff at the end. I think in this moment I could change my mind because I've had different rankings before, but I think right now it would be 1, 2, 3.
Interesting. I think mine would be Prisoner of Azkaban number 1, Philosopher's Stone number 2, and Chamber of Secrets 3.
Yeah.
So.
Like I think that used to be my ranking, but you know, there's a lot of fighting, and like I think I said in the previous episode we were kind of talking about doing this. Maybe not part 1, but like the book before. I think I made a comment. It's not that I don't like this book. They're obviously all amazing and like 10 out of 10s. So I'm not saying it's not a good book. But I think for me, there's more just like day-to-day life, which is fine and cool. But there's a lot of fighting between the trio, which is good development for their characters.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love it. I think the other ones have more things rolling the plot forward.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
So that's why for me, and I'm sure I'm gonna get. I don't know who would ring me because nobody talks to us, but if they did, I feel they would be upset with me.
Prisoner of Azkaban is one of the more loved ones of the series, which I do find shocking. I mean, I did put it at number 1 thus far, but when I'm thinking about from here on out, the level of like plot and activity, it just ramps up like 0 to 60.
Oh yeah.
So I think putting this one above 4, 5, 6, or 7, I feel like is insanity.
Agreed.
But you know, to each their own, whatever you love the most. But yeah, I feel like from here on is like nonstop.
Right.
Like,
and this does start launching like the rest of the series. Like,
Right.
that big reveal that Peter was the secret keeper and betrayed them, like, that's a big reveal.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not trying to downplay that at all.
Right. This is like, it does have all the hallmarks of the hinge pin. Like
Yes.
the hinge pin.
Yes, absolutely.
Because now we know that Voldemort has someone on their way back to him. We know from the prophecy, like, that Trelawney just gave Harry. He's on his way back to Voldemort. For sure. Without a doubt. So we know that this is going to
Yeah.
continue and things are just going to get wilder.
Yep.
And the size difference between this book and the Goblet of Fire is wild. I think the Goblet of Fire is like twice as long.
We're either going to have to be way more concise about the things that happen, which then we would be getting into movie territory where we're leaving things out, or we're going to have to, like, have 3 parts.
I think, honestly, for at least 4 and 5 and 7, it would be 3 parts.
Yeah.
6, I don't know. A
lot happens in 6.
A lot does happen in 6.
A lot of information is revealed in 6. A
6
lot.
is shorter than 4, 5, and 7.
I think it's because you get less action and more reveal information, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. They might all have to be 3 parts. I don't know.
I'm not going to promise you right now that you're going to get all 3 parts at the same time either.
Yeah.
You might get, like, 2 at once and then, like, the 3rd part
It just depends.
a few days later, or
Yeah.
they might all be spread out across a week. You know, we're just going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah.
But they're going to be sprinkled in like they've been. We're not going to continue only doing Harry Potter from here. We're going to drop them in as we've been doing.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Right, exactly. So, yeah. But anyway,
Did you want to give some, like, extra thoughts about the book?
I think I really like Prisoner of Azkaban. I think maybe because it's different from the first 2, it made it more interesting, even though it seems like less happens maybe. I don't know. I really enjoy it. I like the tone change. I think it's necessary at this point. They're teenagers, so it makes sense for it to have a bit of a darker tone.
Yeah.
And they're less childlike than they were. So there's a level of innocence that has left them at this point.
Yeah.
So I think that is all necessary and relevant. I like that Harry gets serious at the end of this. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
He's never really had a parental figure. Not even really at Hogwarts, right?
Yeah.
Now he has someone who's not affiliated with Hogwarts.
Right.
And is affiliated with his parents instead.
Right.
So I think that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that Hagrid tries to be a father figure, but people have a perception of him that he's a bit of a oaf. So I think that takes a bit of that
authority figure away.
Yes. Yeah. But I think that he would love and care for Harry if he were able.
I
mean, he does love him, but I mean, like, I think he would care for Harry.
I agree.
But yes. No, and I agree. And that's why I said, it's like, I don't think that this one is necessarily, and maybe I did say that, but I don't necessarily think that this one is less interesting. It's just crazy to me, like, how little they take the Sirius Black thing serious.
Yeah, I know.
It's wild to me.
Yeah.
And then all the infighting is, sad to me. And they don't necessarily learn their lesson because we have a little bit of spoiler, we have a little bit of infighting in the next one.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Although I like this one, I like the new characters that we get and stuff like that. There's just, I guess I just don't like it as much. And I am as just surprised as everyone else. Because I think I've said before, when I first read them, I found the second one to be dull and repetitive, but I really like it now. So, I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
So, just, rate and review us where you can.
Yep.
Please.
Yeah. Send along your book racks and let us know if you've read any of the books we've covered. Let us know your feelings on said books.
Yep. And everything that you experience is all our doing. We do all our own work, so
this little two boat crew.
That's right.
We're just rowing along.
Yep. So until we meet again, solemnly swear that you are up to no good. And read your books.
Yes. All right, goodbye.
Bye.